This is for flow state people.
Oh, I'm glad you're here.
Flow state.
Flow state.
Hey, yo, flow state.
Flow state.
Flow state is awesome.
Flow.
You love flow state.
I really do love flow state.
Flow state.
I'm on Flow broadcast.
That guy Flow State.
All right, Flow State.
Flow state.
I owed Flow State one.
Flow state.
Flow states.
Flow
Oh.
state.
Flow State.
Flow state.
Mr. Flow State.
Mr. Flow State.
What's up, Flow State?
Flow state.
Flow State.
Flow States.
Hit the panel, Flow.
Flow state.
Flow state.
Mr. Flow State.
Flow state.
Flow state.
Flow state.
Flow state.
Flow state.
His name Flow State.
Flow State.
I do like flow.
I do like flow too.
Flow State.
Ban flow state and the backup.
Flow state.
Flow State.
Flow state is just playing games. That's flow state.
Flow state.
Flow state.
Flow state. Flow state.
Flow state.
Flow State.
Flow state.
Flow state is so great.
Flow State.
Flow State.
And you need to go to flow state.
Welcome to Flow State.
Flow state.
Yo.
Flow state over here.
Flow state.
You'd fuck flow state.
Flow state. Flow state.
Flow state gets all the girls. Shout out Flow.
Flow state.
Flow state.
You see flow state on my show?
I mean, like, I don't even have to hate on Slow.
Flow state.
Flow states.
Hey, flow state.
What up, Flow State?
Flow state.
Flow state.
Flow state's the expert.
Flow State. All right.
There's Flow state. He's cool.
Well, there's Flow State right there.
Flow state.
Flow state is on the up and up.
Flow state in the house.
Hey, yo, Flow State, man. Salute.
I hate Flow State, and I'll even say his name once for his sake because I know he loves to hear it come out in his mouth. That's why he's got so many of my clips that he plays of me saying his name. He loves it. He faps to it. He fucks his wife to it. He says, "Hold up, honey, I'm about to come. Let me play some of these Tom clips saying my name."
Look at what you're creating, Flow.
Go support Flow State.
What's up, guys? Hi, Cynthia. Welcome to Flow State 3333. Double Illuminati confirmed. A little bit ago, I hit 3,333 subscribers. I was kind of excited to have landed on that number or caught it. I feel like I missed the cool numbers, but I caught 3333. Now I think I'm at 3335, which is even better. So I figured I'd do a little stream. Won't be here long. Not a lot of energy. What's up, Major Facepalm? Thank you, El Perro. I couldn't have got here without you being here to throttle my streams with likes and coach me in the ways of the illuminated. What's up, B&O Railroad? So I really don't have anything planned. I think Miss Flo, she went to go get cigarettes, but she might. You can unsub your 33 profiles. You can do it. I when I hit numbers like this, I sort of expect to have a few people notice it and back out, but I think I've got enough momentum now that I was only sitting on 333 for an hour maybe, and so it's come and gone. But I screenshotted it while it was there. There's a link. Anyone's welcome to come up if they want. And if not, or till y'all get here, I'll just watch some shit. React to it. Let's see. Which one of these do we want? Oh, this one. This one first. Yeah, when I hit 1,000, I kind of bobbled back and forth. Jack Tal, they really did. Y'all really did Jack Talcott dirty when you hit. What was it? Was it 1,000 or was it 1,500? Whatever number it was, he hit it, and he had a stream. I think I don't remember if he had dedicated a stream to it or just mentioned it, but Paul told everybody to unsub, and it rocked him back. For a few days, I think. maybe a week or so. What a douche move. But a funny one. Is the Arctic Circle 60 degrees north technically? The Arctic Circle is at 66 degrees, 33 north. Harmon, I don't know. It's not that I couldn't probably figure out what you're saying. It's that, well, I just am kind of brain lazy right now. Something to do with like angles and shit. Yeah. He's the lol cow, you know. They think I'm a lol cow.
I'm from New York. This is how we talk.
That's not the lol cow clip, but that's the guy. Yeah, he and Jack Talcott have an interesting dynamic. Because, and hi to both of them, you very likely are here, lurking in the shadows. But one's a classic overt narcissist, and the other's a classic covert narcissist. And the game that they play back and forth is insane and unhealthy and very entertaining. Welcome, Harmon.
Hey, I wasn't trying to say anything. I was just saying, you said 333 because your show. I think it's funny. Trying to show how it's in everything. So,
oh yeah,
I was just looking because they talk about right now it's the 24-hour sun going around the Arctic Circle. So I typed in what degree is the Arctic Circle at? That's all, and it came out 66.33. Come on, it's you know that's.
Well, when I get to 6666, we'll have to have a hell of a party.
Yeah, I was just saying how that number shows up so much. I don't know nothing to it.
What you been doing these last few days? I haven't seen you in a couple of days, I don't think.
Yeah, because you're talking BS stuff.
Oh yeah, you don't like the BS?
Not the religion stuff. It's so stupid. I mean, there's no.
I think it's interesting because it's psychology. For me, what it comes down to is psychology. I view religion as a way that people are psychologically manipulated, and I think psychology is interesting.
I love the way you look at it, but tell you what, when you get a believer that believes in it, it doesn't matter what you say. No common sense comes to the mind. It just doesn't. You know, they always refer. I always tell them they always want to preach the Bible, and it's supposed to be believe it by faith, but they still want it to be validated by some proof. I go, wait a second. Either it's faith or it's not. You know, oh, it says it here, or Flat Earth says it here, or they all these guys want validity in their belief that's supposed to be faith.
I guess I think that's part of the game or part of the fun, because if you, especially, you know, some people, not everyone's like that, but if you get somebody who's inclined towards thinking but committed to believing, there's a cognitive dissonance there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Penetrated.
Well, it can be though.
Well, I guess I was, because I was raised that way. I remember I went on a mission. I went knocking door to door. I did all that stuff. Eventually, I saw it.
Yeah, and I saw it. And I mean, I wasn't raised in the Mormon church. I mean, I was raised like a generic white bread Christian. You know, we'd go to church sometimes, you know, if everybody, it was sort of that sort of thing. But
yeah. And the community is okay as far as when you're raised as a kid, it teaches you good. Not to steal and shit like that. They, you know, it does give you some guidance, but man, it fucks with your brain.
It does, and
that's that's the problem.
And you don't find any interest in like unfucking people's brains, or you don't. It doesn't appeal to you at all.
Well, I can tell a person within 5 minutes if they're going to listen to you. They no words you're saying to them. All this time you were talking those last few days, like to that war veteran who thinks he's God.
Generally specific.
Yes, there's not 5 words, I guarantee you, if you ask him to repeat what you said, he would not be able to repeat what you said. All he wants to do is, I understand you, Flo. I think I know where you're coming from, Flo. Yeah, I've seen people like you, Flo. Ask him to repeat 5 words you said. He won't be able to do it.
I'll do that next time.
Ask him 5 words, because he's already pre-programmed what he's going to tell you while you're talking.
I don't think the programming is that deep with him. He has not been Christian that long.
Is it the guy that's the veteran I'm talking about with the beard?
I mean, most of the people, it seems like, that I talk to are veterans.
Well, he's guys like preaches in his wife and all this.
Got
stuff. He's
kind
like
of a
52 years
beard.
old.
He's the one that I've been talking to quite a bit lately. Generally specific.
Yeah.
There's another dude who he's Demolished Doctrine. He's a little bit older, has a red beard. He doesn't always go on camera, but I've known him for longer. But he's got a very, very unique. You're talking about generally specific.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You know, he's
Austin Murphy.
indoctrinated from once.
Welcome, Austin Murphy, to the dollar bin. You're a gentleman and a scholar. You will not regret your $1 a month. It's a fantastic deal.
I'm getting too much money.
What's up, Toxic Angel?
Hey, buddy, how are you?
I'm doing good.
It was a little sad to see the state of RBR today, wasn't it?
He looks rough, yeah.
Yeah, when you said that to me earlier this morning, I didn't realize how bad it really was until I saw
Toxic
him.
Angel, who's RBR?
There, you'll probably recognize him. He's the like racist black guy whose panel I go to sometimes.
Yes.
I'm naked on the show. When I do the show, I'm naked. Then they look at the show and am I naked? I mean, and I mean, this is how dumb the white race is. What are we supposed to do?
Look how good he looks in that compared.
Yeah.
And that is from that meme you made there is only from a few months ago, isn't it?
Let's see. It's probably damn near a year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Real quick, old Joe, there is no planned talk pick for tonight. It's more of just a milestone stream. I passed 3,333 subscribers.
Oh, it still has that on mine. It has that on mine still.
Does it?
Yeah.
It was some. Well, I must have had 2 people unsubscribe because it was 35 a minute ago. Here.
Congratulations there, brother.
Thank you.
No, it still says 3,333. It doesn't have 535. It won't give you a 5. Ours just gives the first 3 numbers. It doesn't give the digits, the single digits.
I'm assuming that's Miss Flo in the background.
Yeah, somewhere behind the boom.
Hi, Miss Flo.
Hi.
Well,
Hope you're doing good tonight.
oops. I do.
Yeah.
Well,
You know what?
You stud, Flow State.
Hey, do you have a pet? Do you guys have a pet, Flo?
On what?
A pet, PET, dog.
Oh, a
cat.
pet. We have 2 cats.
2 cats.
Mm-hmm.
I never see you kicking them or anything.
He's not gonna kick him.
I cuss under my breath sometimes because they always want me to let them out the door when it's closed. But not. I don't mind them. I never wanted them, but my ex-wife got our daughter a kitten for her birth or for Christmas a few years ago. So what are you going to do? Throw it in the trash?
Yeah. Let it outside. Let it outside for to go for bathroom break. They won't come back.
The cats love him though.
Cats do like me. Cats like me.
I dated a girl in Hawaii, and she wanted to bring home 1 cat, so I let her bring home 1 cat, and then she's like, well, can we have his sister too? So I was like, well, what can it hurt? 2 cats. And then it ended up 4 and then 5. And then when we broke up, well, she didn't take him with her. So I ended up the crazy cat lady.
So
Cats.
I got to admit, I love cats in the house. I've always, when we were on the farm, the only animals we ever allowed in the house was a couple cats. Most animals had to stay outside.
They want dogs, and I don't want dogs. I've never had a dog
in a house.
They're just, and I don't mean to sound cold, but they need too much fucking attention.
They do. And you know, it was really difficult for me to do my world travels with. Well, I had about 17 exotic tortoises. I had leopard.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I had leopard tortoises, and I had a 85-pound albino tortoise. So my first trip to Australia, I stayed 6 months. When I went to Indonesia, I stayed a year. So I'm paying for my place in Hawaii, and my dad's staying babysitting my animals, and then I'm paying for my place in Indonesia and getting married too. So luckily I had an extensive gun collection because that paid for it all.
Scott 2B does not have 16 dogs. I haven't seen Scott 2B in a hot minute either.
Where has he been?
Wow, I just looked up leopard tortoise. What the
They're
hell?
beautiful, aren't they?
Well, for a turtle, I guess.
Toxic Angel, you're a weirdo. You know that?
Yes. I
What
made
the fuck would you do with all those
Did you appear on Tiger King?
turtles?
I made some good money off of them though. They would breed and the babies sell for around $250 a piece. So
You belonged on Tiger King then.
Sound like the druggie that sells the pit bulls all the time. We're gonna work. Our job is we breed pit bulls.
Oh, I had a roommate like that.
They all do that. So many of them do that. Oh, what I do? I raise pit bulls. They eat my little kids, but I still raise.
He
them.
actually made quite a bit of money at it.
No, they do. They think it's their job, you know. And
Well,
go
pit
buy
bulls
some
are so
drugs.
trendy.
I personally didn't expect to make money on it. I just wanted to see little baby tortoises hatch from the eggs. So that's how.
Where did they hatch at? Where did they hatch at? On the ground or in the water?
I purchased some incubators, and you put them in the incubator and incubate them for a certain amount of time, and then you see them pip, which is when they stick their little nose out with the little. They're born with a little horn on the tip of their nose, and then it's just the cutest thing. And I would take my albino tortoise to the beach, and people from 100 yards away would see him and come running up and want the kids to take pictures.
Was it an albino leopard tortoise or was it just an albino tortoise?
Albino sulcata tortoise.
Sulcata, I'm looking them up as you say that. So these
Oh my
leopards,
god, what a boring pet!
you guys probably don't remember the original Rocky. It came out in 1978, do you?
I mean, I remember it. I haven't seen it in a long time. I don't remember this.
That was his pet. He had a pet turtle. That's how he got it. His girlfriend that he ended up marrying in the show, she worked at a pet store.
It's like a pet rock that eats lettuce.
Yeah,
Does he still have that?
Huh?
Does he still have that?
Rocky? It's a movie.
I know, but
he kept it. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Stallone?
Yeah.
You're too young to remember that movie, Flow State. You can't possibly be my age.
Well, I didn't see it in theaters or anything.
That's why I asked him if he. That's why I said if he's seen it. Yeah, but anyway, so he would go and tell his girlfriend, and he'd tap it on his back and say, "I'm giving it shell shock." That was the only funny part in the whole damn movie.
I just remember
don't
the
know why I
montage
said that.
mostly.
Yeah, it was a good movie. The first Rocky. Then the rest of them I didn't really care about. You know. Didn't care. So what else did you have besides the turtles?
Well, I had just a couple of cats and the tortoises, and then got a pretty big gun collection that I end up selling. I put in the gun store on consignment just in case I needed money when I was in Australia, and it turned out I decided instead of staying 1 month to stay 6, so it worked out good. And then every other time I traveled, I never stayed less than a month.
Did any of your cats even ever eat a turtle?
No.
Did they ever mess with them?
Yeah, they like to bat them around, the little paw, the little batting thing that they do. I still have one box turtle from when I got it when I was 10 years old, and I still have her.
All right, your pet stories are boring me to death.
It
I
is
know.
not illegal to stand.
No,
by
they're
the
not. They're
police.
cool.
according to Louisiana.
No, they're not.
Louisiana
Well, they
is a
are.
crime now. If you would like to stand near a cop, maybe listen to what they're saying or perhaps record them in public, no more. So a new Louisiana law, effective August 1st, will make it a crime to knowingly approach within 25 feet of a police officer, quote, engage in law enforcement duties. And of course, they will say that's at all times. After being ordered to step back, opponents fear it could hinder the public's ability to film police for accountability, citing cases like George Floyd's killing. Proponents argue it will ensure officer safety by creating a buffer zone.
Oh,
With
shut the fuck
millions
up.
watching,
Right.
many people benefiting from this program called Indisputable. We just need 1% of the viewers to become a paid member so we can continue to bring this
Man,
content
quit
to you.
chilling on my
Now back
show.
to the show.
While I read.
So Governor Jeff Landry, who has a law enforcement background, stated Tuesday during the bill signing, quote, this is part of our continued pledge to address public safety in this state. Keep his picture up for a minute. Once again, messaging and conflation. Public safety and policing are two totally different things. Public safety is the overall safety of the community. That is achieved by a multiplicity of programs, systems, and protocols. Policing is one aspect, and typically not a very good aspect at actually stopping crime or decreasing crime. Why? Because the police are reactionary agents. They react to crime as the design of the department. So if you want to decrease crime, which enhances public safety, you cannot look for your police department to do so. But they conflate these two intentionally. Put them up, full mass. So per the Associated Press.
I agree, firm audits. They I don't like the Young Turks either, but they are good on the liberals are good on this front. And I think this dude does a pretty good breakdown of it, honestly. It's pretty good.
No, all the auditors I follow, they would love that law, 25 feet, because the police would arbitrarily make up their own distance, and they'll be.
No, I don't think that. Well, firm.
Yeah, no,
hit the link if you want to come up and give it your way in.
No, because just last night, the lady from Fort Worth, Texas, she's a lady about 45, 50. She got.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, did you see the picture of her booking picture?
No, but I heard she got knocked out and she was in the hospital.
Yeah, she got her booking picture. Her face is all fucked up, arms in a sling. He slams her down on the ground with not even no provocation or nothing. And the lady, she was trying to talk to two lady cops, and she talks to them, and they won't talk to her, so she's going fire, or just plain, not even loud. Anyway, now they booked her for going false alarm. But anyway, so he picked her up, slammed her down the ground. She's knocked out. You hear the lady cop saying, she's bleeding, and she's knocked out. Literally, you hear her gurgling, like that, knocked out. And the male cop who slammed her down keeps saying, quit resisting. She's fucking knocked out.
Yeah, Officer Kruger, I don't remember his first name, is.
Yeah, I know. From Fort Worth.
And I guess he's got a violent record.
He sued the department to get back on because he was fired for violence. And he got back on 2 years ago.
Yeah, but see, this law would not have done shit for that. She'd just have another charge, which is getting within 25 feet of an officer.
Yeah, but she wouldn't have done that. All these auditors, they obey the law to that point. 90% of them. So if they give us a certain distance, like the guy right now in Vegas, he's in jail. He's been in jail for 4 or 5 months because the cop said, stand back. Well, how far do you want me back? He was 25, 30 feet back. And if there's a law saying how close you can get, then they would obey that because his cameras can zoom in and see what you're doing. It works the other way. There is no law, so there is no the cops can't instruct them to do shit. They can't make up laws. Right. And so they bet that's what gets them. That's why the guy in Vegas is in jail, because it was at the officer's discretion. You take that away from the officer and make it a law. I think that's and that one part will help.
Yeah.
You don't think so?
Yeah.
I think that one part of being a straight, 25 feet. Okay, I'm 25 feet. I got my camera and I'm zooming in on you and everything like that. So yeah, that will help. That part
I don't
will
think
help.
it will help at all because I mean, you should know better than I do. If I bet it would not surprise me at all if this woman also got charged with assaulting a law enforcement officer because
No, she
they
got
attacked.
charged for resisting.
Yeah. Well,
I seen her charges. She didn't get assault. She didn't get assault charges. She was knocked out.
firm way in here.
She got 4 charges.
One was a false alarm or hollering fire when she did that, and what was it? Resisting arrest, I think. What was
Right.
the other two?
I was hoping you would know them because I would know them if you said them, and
I did know him. I did know him.
But to
Probably
get 'em-
obstructing.
No, it wasn't that. God, that makes me mad. I should have wrote them down.
But you know what I'm saying? That the 25 feet, at least now they can't be arbitrarily saying, "I want you far. I want you across the street. I want you over there." 25 feet isn't that far. You can get there. You can get your camera in there.
No, right. I do agree with that. We're wanting it to be more like 10 feet because at
Right.
25 feet, you can't hear the conversations that are going on a lot of times.
Exactly.
They're talking loud. And by law, we are allowed to be within hearing distance.
Does it say that?
I cannot
what I'm
remember
saying.
offhand which law it states, but I know in Illinois they are. Oops, sorry guys.
All right.
I forgot to mute everything before I came up.
Oh, you're
What do you
good.
think? What do you think about the 25 feet? Flo, it's too far.
I think it will only make things worse. I think that you'll have first of all, nobody's carrying a tape measure. Cops don't walk around with a big circle around them at 25 feet. So it's very subjective. Also, as he's going to say here in a little bit, there's no provision that the cops can't walk at you, right?
Right.
So a cop can see you. You could be at 30 feet, and then it takes a few fast steps forward, and now you're within, and he got you.
Right. Is it within the crime scene? Is it within the?
What's their 25 feet? You're right.
Who's to say where that's going to be from? It's going to be from like what Flo just said, him walking up to you, and now you got to create another 25 more feet. He's just going to keep walking until he gets you around the next block.
That's what happened to the guy in Vegas. The cop kept coming towards him. He already had gone away. You know that one I'm talking about?
No, who was?
I can't remember his name. It's about 5-6 months ago, but he used to follow him all around Vegas, and they just hated him. And I tell you, and he was in a parking lot, and they stopped the guy in a parking lot, and he's filming him. He's completely out of the way. He moved back, and the cop says, "I want you back here." Then the cop walked towards him, and he says, "You're still too close." He says, "You're walking towards me." Anyway, they arrested him, and
Are you
he's in
talking
jail
about
still.
Chili?
Who?
Chili?
Chili. Was it Chili? I don't ring a bell.
Elite Laws.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in jail. Because I live
I mean,
about 80 miles from Vegas. That's why I kept track of him.
Okay.
Yeah, that lady. Did you see the picture of the lady in Fort Worth?
Yes. Yeah.
She's just a little thing.
I've been talking with CJ Grissom and a couple of the other auditors down there that are going to be doing a protest and stuff coming up here the next couple of days. It's ridiculous what they did to her.
James Freeman's pissed off as hell.
So is Harvey Freebird.
Is he?
Harvey Freebird would not have been where he's at. He's got 128,000 subscribers, and which is way over what Caroline had on a lot of her channels, which I never understood why she doesn't have that many followers yet. But he would not. She's the one who brought him out for the first time. She's the one who taught him how to edit videos, and yeah. Pissed. And then CJ Grissom, he's a civil rights activist / attorney, and he is from that area. And I guess it's like 2.5 hours. He's in between Dallas and Houston.
Okay, this is fucking ridiculous. What's up?
What's up? Who was that?
Oh, that was Jeremy.
Oh.
Hey, this happens normally. Like when I let Jeremy up, he basically immediately starts being disruptive, and then I end up doing this. So,
what do you think, Miss Flo? What do you think about the 25 feet?
What?
Shoot.
About the 25 feet. Were you paying attention?
No, I wasn't. I was more paying attention to the chat.
Oh, the 25 feet, they said they're passing a law in Louisiana that you have to be 25 feet now as an auditor filming the cops.
I mean, who's going to be measuring the 25 feet?
That's exactly what your Flo said. Well, you guys must be related.
I mean, yeah, they'll make that whatever they.
Yeah, I mean, like
how are you supposed to measure that when you're standing there?
exactly, and you know how they play with laws. Like Clayton got rammed by a police car and then charged with vehicular assault on an officer. Like they do that shit all the time.
Yeah. Well, that's what Freeman's
Really,
saying on his channel tonight. Tonight, Freeman said, I'm trying to let you guys know, you're not going to change them. All this auditing stuff, all it does is make people aware how corrupt they are. He says there's no way you're going to change the system.
You have to change the law. I'm convinced that the only way to address it is to change the law. You can't do more training. You can't do da-da-da-da-da. You have to change the laws so that cops are not incentivized to make victims out of people for, things that don't cause victims.
And the biggest thing that we're trying to fight right now, and everybody kind of knows about it, is qualified immunity.
Yeah, he says
biggest.
no one's accountable in any part of the government. James is going all correct. No one's accountable.
But the worst thing of all is civil asset forfeiture. That's fucking insane.
Yeah.
Like it's so absurd that when I tell people about it, they don't even believe that's possible.
You got to see Eli, Nevada. They know that people leaving Vegas and heading up north towards Reno, going out towards the Northern California state. They got this one sheriff. He stops so many people. He takes their money right and left. It's going on still today. Because where'd you get this money? Why? The guy just won $78,000 in the Harris Casino, and they're showing the receipts. The guy goes, "No, I don't believe you." So they have to forfeit it and fight to get it back. It's going. Eli on Nevada. Look it up, and you'll see that sheriff doing it all the time.
Oh, I believe it. I know that. My charges went from I was looking at 15 years down to probation because I forfeited legally owned assets to him, like $150,000-$200,000 worth. And Max Barrett, Under Sheriff Max Barrett, stole my money out of my safe.
On top of that, they say it cost more money to get an attorney and fight them to get it back than losing it to begin with.
Yep. All right, let's carry on with this.
All right, go ahead.
Identical bill was vetoed last year by then Governor Mel Edwards, a Democrat, who called the measure unnecessary and said it could be used to, quote, chill exercise of the First Amendment rights. Now, I'm going to give you the scenario, okay? Let's say you're recording a cop. This cop has possibly done something that looks suspicious to you. You're roughly 50 feet away. The officer tells you you're interfering with the investigation. You say something like, "No, I'm not. I'm way over here." The officer turns around and starts walking towards you quickly. And all of a sudden, you're within the 25-foot zone and he can arrest you because the law does not provide a caveat for if the cop is approaching you. There's more. Each of us have a constitutional right to freely observe public servants as they function in public and within the course and scope of their official duties. This is what Governor John Bel Edwards said. Edwards served in the U.S. Army, was the son of a sheriff, said that in last year's veto. Observations of law enforcement, whether by witnesses to an incident with officers, individuals interacting with officers, or members of the press, are invaluable in promoting transparency. However, with a new governor and the GOP's super majority in the Louisiana legislature, the bill had a clear path forward. State Rep. Brian Fontenay, the bill's author, said the state law provides officers with peace of mind and safe distance to do their job, end quote. Lawmakers opposing the bill, among the most outspoken Black Democrats, have echoed Edwards' fears that the bill could impede onlookers' ability to observe police officers. Well, that's what the statute is meant to do. The 25-foot buffer legislation fundamentally seeks to curtail Louisiana's ability to hold police accountable for violence and misconduct. That's what the ACLU of Louisiana said in the statement Tuesday. Quote, "We denounce the passage and signing of this legislation, urge our communities to stay vigilant and safe in response to these developments." The measure supporters argue nearby bystanders would still be close enough to film police interactions. Quote, "At 25 feet, that person can't spit in my face when I'm making an arrest, State Rep said while presenting his bill to the committee earlier in the year, quote, the chances of him hitting me in the back of the head with a beer bottle at 25 feet, it sure is a lot more difficult than if he's sitting right here. Representative, did you have any criminal stats to present to the committee that this was a problem for law enforcement? Statistically an issue? No, you didn't. You see, the issues that he proclaimed do happen on occasion, less than 1% of the time. So what is this new law addressing? Nothing. It's trying to stop individuals from feeling comfortable with recording police officers. There's more. Additionally, those against the new crime say there is already a law that bars people from interfering with law enforcement investigations. Anyone who was convicted of the new crime of knowingly or intentionally approaching a police officer after being ordered to stop approaching or retreat faces up to $500 fine, up to 60 days in jail or both. Language in the measure appears to put in some safety net, stating that an acceptable defense to this crime includes establishing that a lawful command was neither received nor understood by the defendant. Well, that's after you go to jail, though. You see what I'm saying? That's after you go to jail, post bond, life is flipped upside down, you get an attorney, and you have a defense. That's what they gave. It's a damn shame. We knew this would happen, dear brother. We've seen it a few years ago when individuals obviously were advocating for police body cameras, et cetera. There was a lot of pushback about people recording them. But here's the irony. If you're a good cop, you want everybody recording you.
Well, look, I think, Dr. Ritchie, I mean, the proof, as you point out, the proof that this is, in fact, an effort to squelch people from recording the police, the proof exists simply in the case law, and that is several circuit courts, and I believe it's even the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, had previously struck down these buffer zones, that the buffer zones are greater than, I think it's 8 or 10 feet. The idea that it's 25 feet, that is so far beyond the case law that it will certainly get struck down at the appellate level. The question becomes, if this gets kicked up to the Supreme Court, will the Supreme Court now, a conservative court, decide, well, yeah, maybe we're going to give law enforcement a bit of a break somehow by keeping people back? And it seems like the case law is so overwhelmingly against this. The Constitution makes it clear, and the interpretations of the Constitution make it clear. We have a right on public property, in the public site, in the public streets, as long as we're not interfering with police activity, to film and record our government officials. Now, if they're on private property, then that's a different matter. But again, it doesn't, you know, the 25 feet, if you're on a sidewalk, if you're in a public easement and you're filming a cop, you have every right to film that cop as long as you're not interfering. And the moment our society says, no, we have to stop that, is the moment that we empower the bad cops and enable them to get away with more ridiculous stuff. And we hurt the good cops who are trying to do the right thing.
I'm calling foul. You got to watch this before I did.
I was going to say, I was going to ask the same thing right before he said that. I was going to wait till it was done out of respect for Flo's stream. But yeah, it is a constitutionally protected right to film from any public area. And he was a little wrong. If you can view private property from the public area, you can film them on the private property as long as you're not on the private property and can see it from public property. That's constitutionally protected. Of course, we see these auditors go into around public buildings, and they get trouble from police all the time trying to arrest them. It never works out in the courts because it is a constitutionally protected right, as far as what I've seen.
Yeah, but the process is the punishment. So by the time that the courts drop it, like it,
you can beat the rap, but you can't beat the ride.
And Jeremy, if you're still there and you want to try again, you can come back up. Like, I don't mean to be a douche to the guy, but he either doesn't know how to smoothly like interact socially, or he doesn't give a fuck to.
Well, I just said that in the private chat because he kept asking to bring you up, and I said, Jeremy, if you behave more often, it bring you up. Cause I wanted to say something a little off topic. Have you ever picked and eaten morel mushrooms?
No, I have not.
I just went yesterday and we found the best ones, which are the blonde ones. And tonight I had elk with morel mushroom dinner.
I agree.
Wow.
I like blonde ones the best too.
Yeah, the women too.
Yeah, we find them a lot around here in the Midwest, morel mushrooms.
Yeah, it was great with the elk. Last night I had the morels with Rabbi, and then tonight I had morels with the elk steak.
Old Joe, is this? Are you an enthusiastic fan of mushrooms, not blonde women?
I agree with you, Flo, though, that this 25 feet and for modernity, that's bullshit. I just thought course, I was being naive again, thinking it would be a good thing, but it never is. Another law is never a good thing. It's
No,
always.
It's also kind of like, you know, the main reason that all of this is coming around is because of officer safety crap.
Yeah, right.
You know, and none of this started until a little over 2016, you know, when a couple of these shootings happened, and all of a sudden you started hearing about officer safety.
Yeah, and the thing is I think it's so weird that they're trying to stop this because people recording police keeps them in check and keeps people safe from the abuse. And it's so crazy because it's like what? They want to protect police so they can abuse people without being filmed.
Right.
And then, of course, sometimes you have to go through, like, a lot of times you can get the body cam footage, but there's also a lot of times where the departments can deny releasing body cam footage. And they usually do that when some sus things happen.
That or they will charge an outrageous amount just to even try to get them. And then they're so redacted, it's not even funny.
Do you
one New York City cop, they saw him planting on his body cam.
Yeah.
And the guys, you saw that one? And
yeah.
It took 3 years for them to get the body cam. For 3 years, that guy sat in jail because, and once they got the body cam, then they said, okay. And you know, the guy only got a reprimand for planting the marijuana.
Yeah.
He's still on the North Force.
How about that one where the cop arrested this elderly lady, and I can't remember, he really hurt her bad, and broke bones and what have you, and the family sued and won. I don't know if you guys were aware of that particular case.
No, there's so many like that. There's so many.
And the thing is like I've never hit a woman in all the relationships I've had. And I find it so strange that police are allowed to physically, physically attack women to arrest them. And there's got to be some. It's just weird that if you're a police officer, it's all of a sudden okay for a man to physically,
I mean, cops are allowed to kill people if they say they feared for their life.
Right. Yeah. And that's all they got to do is say they fear for their life. And it's so crazy because some people that are professional, like ASP, active self-protection, they teach self-defense. And it's so crazy that they're talking about how is it that police are so afraid, which they're not really, but they're acting so afraid because it justifies.
If you're that scared of somebody's dog or somebody, like you shouldn't. Like you're still at fault, even if you're truly afraid, because you put yourself in a stupid fucking line of work that you were not cut out for, and your supervisors were not smart enough to see that you're fragile.
Did you guys hear that case where the cop shot a litter of kittens in front of children?
No.
Yeah, he actually pulled out his gun in city limits and shot a whole litter of kittens in front of crying children, and did no problem, just reprimand.
Yeah,
some do.
They just don't care. I'm telling you, Flo. You know what's crazy? These guys are scared.
33 viewers on 33333.
They are scared. These cops are freaking scared. A lot of these guys, they are really frightened out there. And that's
the sad thing is they don't even have the worst job in the world as far as death ratio.
No. Roofers are way higher. Roofers are like 17 times higher.
Yeah.
There's so many more jobs. They're like not even in the top like 25.
And when they compared the amount of police killing Americans to the UK police have such small numbers of killing civilians than American police. And if I remember right, American police have one of the highest rates of killing civilians.
Yes.
UK cops are silly.
The one I felt really bad for was in Vegas. He shot a guy in handcuffs in the shoulder, and it killed him because it hit an artery. The reason I felt bad, though, is because the cop freaked out. He felt really bad.
Why did you shoot a guy in handcuffs?
I can't.
That's pretty hard to feel bad for.
I know.
Did you
I
hear
just
about?
felt bad about how he freaked out and tried to save the guy's life. You could tell he really fucked up.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, shooting a guy in handcuffs is totally uncalled for.
Really?
How about the one thing that's going around right now through the community is that you get into a police station and it's like, hey, watch out for fallen acorns.
Oh yeah, that one. Oh my God, the acorn hit the thing, so he shot the guy. Acorn bounced off the car, and he thought it was a gunshot, so he shot.
The guy luckily did not get hit at all because he was inside the police car handcuffed.
Oh, okay. How
They
about
thought-
the one where they left the lady handcuffed in the back of the car on the tracks, and the train hit? Oh God!
I did a video on that.
Luckily, she lived. And what
That's crazy.
She got $9.6 million.
Can Flow State, can you post his channel link in the private chat? Because I'd like to see his video on that.
Who?
Firm
mine.
audits. Yeah.
I had to take it down, brother. I got to make some adjustments to it. I've been demonetized.
Yeah.
And it's because they said I wasn't a good enough content creator, so I'm working on getting a lot of videos back up.
He's got like, how many subs do you have?
103,000 now.
Wow.
Are you under firm audits?
Yes.
Yeah, I haven't heard.
Gosh.
I've got found a lot.
But yeah,
of
go
audits.
ahead, Firm. If you want to drop your link in the wherever, you're more than welcome to.
I appreciate it.
By the way,
drop in the front, drop in the back.
Firm, I've noticed in the chat you've treated me with a lot of respect, so it's a pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, definitely, brother.
Thank you.
Yeah, Joe Cool. Sorry not to cut you off. Yeah, Joe Cool. That's crazy. Being a crossing guard is more dangerous.
I'm kind of amazed that Joe Cool's not up here right now.
I know. I've never been on a panel with him.
I've never
never
seen. Oh, shut up! You're kidding.
Hey,
You've
Joe,
never been on a panel with Joe Cool?
No.
It's
I've
nothing
never-
to look. It's very,
I've never seen
nothing to
him.
look forward to. Nothing
I've
to
never
look forward to.
seen a cop discussion and not had him come rushing
Joe
in.
Cool, come up, yeah.
Yeah, Joe Cool's nothing to look forward to be on a panel with. It's like it's not a high point.
When he does come
I'm
up,
the high point.
when he does come up, if he comes up during a cop discussion, make sure you have those red and blues playing in the back of your car.
Yeah.
That firm audits. Joe Cool knows I'm joking with him. I always tease with Joe.
Oh no, I know. I will say this is when I saw him on that panel on here, when I first caught a glimpse of it, that was what ran through my mind until I got a better look at it and I put my glasses on. I was like, oh, that's a billboard behind him. That's a neon billboard.
So
Yeah,
Joe Cool, you know that he looks a lot older than he sounds.
Joe Cool's like 83 or something.
Yeah. 85
No
years
way.
old.
Black don't crack.
I've noticed that about black people. They look so young. They can
He's
be
not that old.
He's not that old. He likes to
But-
fuck
Like
with
in his
people.
50s.
But if you notice, like black people that are like in
Now,
their 60s, they look
Check
really
out this. Hold on. Watch this. I'm about to play a clip, but watch the chicken. It says that she's 50.
I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna be honest. I don't mean to offend anybody. This is gonna sound ignorant as hell. I always thought that white men's penises glowed in the dark, and that shit was weird to me. Still stands the same today. I don't know what it looks like. I don't want to know what it looks like.
Well, black people's teeth glow in the dark, and so do their eyes.
I would never have guessed because I remember that her being on a panel, and I would have never guessed she was 50 years old.
Me either. She looks what? 30?
35.
Maybe in her late 30s. Yeah.
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 She's actually really pretty for a 50-year-old lady.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure I believe her.
Yeah, she's trolling.
Hey, Firm, you and Flo look.
Yes,
like the same
Joe.
age. You and Flo look like the same age.
No, not even close. Flo's way much younger than me.
A couple years.
Probably 10 at least.
Yeah.
How old are you, Flo?
Flo's
37.
37.
Oh
Okay,
wow,
so
I'm
20.
10 years older than you.
He'll be 38 this year.
Yeah, my if you look at my demographics, it's my audience is mostly my age, but then it
Most of
weights
it's older.
older, which I take as a compliment.
Oh,
Yeah,
I loved
yeah.
your teabag compilation. That was hilarious. Because I cut that one for you, and you're like, "Oh no, I got enough here. Check this
Yeah.
out." And I
Well, no,
laughed my
no, it's
ass
not enough of them. It's because I stylize them.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've got one that's almost done now that I'm working on. I got a lot backed up to do, actually.
So, Firm, how old are you? I would say, I'm going to take a guess. 53.
56.
56.
Wow.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah, and if I didn't have this gray ass beard, I actually look younger sometimes.
So
But you probably look uglier.
you're only
Yeah,
8 years
a
older
lot
than
of-
me.
Huh?
You're only 8 years older than me.
Oh wow, really? See, now
Yeah.
you sound really young yourself.
Well, I was a tile setter for 20 years, and I was really good at it, too good at it. So I did a lot of damage to my body. So I surpassed my dad's body damage.
I don't know if you can see this. This was my local that I was in for quite a many years, and I was a rebar guy.
Oh, wow.
And
So you were doing the rebar, putting that together for the rock walls?
well, that bridges mostly, and then we did a lot of work for Ameren, which is an electric company in this area
Oh,
here.
wow.
And we would build the steel cages that went in the ground to
Okay.
hold up the big metal towers. And yeah, carrying rebar, my shoulder, I can't even feel like, you know, just from carrying all the rebar and shit, you know, because you got like number ones and number twos that are 1,000 pounds a piece. They're 28 foot long, you know, and you got
I was-
two guys on
Oh,
it.
wow. 20
Flo
years.
was involved in some very nice buildings. He was involved in building. What
I
was
was
one
a
of the
Q-
best buildings? Huh? Go ahead, Flo.
I was QC tech in a couple precast concrete plants, and so you know,
Oh.
I'd have to check all that rebar, and we did one pour that was a bank vault actually, and that thing was basically like there's so much rebar in that it was a double layer of, I mean, it was basically just two steel walls with 8-inch concrete around them.
Filling it.
So
I
what
had
was your
to-
favorite firm? What was your favorite building that you are proud that you worked on?
The new bridge over Missouri in Illinois.
You like that?
Yes. Now, the other thing that I did when I was younger was I actually used to work as an electrician or a communications tech, and we did a
Wow.
lot of low voltage, and I was one of the very first technicians to help pull fiber across the Mississippi River.
You ever take a good shock?
A what?
A good electrocution?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
gosh. I had to do a little rebar myself. When I first moved to Hawaii, I took a job, only white guy on a crew of 30, huge Tongans and Samoans. But I had to do some rebar welding and that for the rock wall. It was
Well, that had to do
nothing
with
like
shock.
I'll tell
nothing
you
like what you did though. It was like what 6 to 8 foot pieces.
Oh
And
yeah,
you-
no.
And you did what 30?
Oh,
Firm,
yeah.
what was the name of that bridge? I'm trying to look it up. What was that bridge?
Forgive me because I cannot remember it. I knew
Okay.
somebody was going to ask me. Hold on.
Flo, we gotta bring up that one building you worked on that was so beautiful with the tall walls and this.
The one with the marble or the
Yes.
school?
The school was cool. I thought it was overdone for a school, but I like the marble one. But they're both awesome.
I'll pull up the marble one. What's going on, Carpenter's Journey? Yeah, the marble one it looks better, and I think it was a more interesting pour. But that school was the hardest one for sure. That thing was a motherfucker and a half.
Show Firm that one. He will be impressed with it. I know. I mean, it is, and he's built, so you'll know.
So are you doing drywall now, Flow State? Is that what?
No.
Oh, I thought I overheard you say something about that.
Oh, you probably did. But no, I don't do drywall.
Some reason you look like a carpenter / drywall.
I mean, I've done some. I can do some carpentry and some framing, and I've done all that stuff. I've learned a lot of it. You know, doing precast concrete, architectural precast concrete, because each panel is so unique that there is a lot of you have to basically build custom form for each one almost.
Right.
I like the carpentry when you're
So what
cutting
was this-
torch jams.
What was this fiber you laid underneath the river, Mississippi River? What year? Let me guess. 2001.
No. It was a little bit before that, I believe.
Oh, okay, wait. The first fiber was put in Texas. I remember my cousin worked there, and so he did his. And I remember they're the first one to get it through Sprint back then, and it was in 1996 when he got his first fiber. So the fibers were all being laid out, and then was it about in that time?
Yeah, 98, 99.
Yeah, because 2096 was the first ones. This Japanese company who bought Sprint
All
put
I
it all
know
over
is
Dallas.
it was the most money I ever saw my boss make, and that we ever got bonuses, because at that time fiber was so new. These guys were charging ridiculous amounts to drill it, and then pull it and bore it. And we were every 3 months we'd get like a $10,000 bonus just because we were one, making our productivity, and two, this guy just literally didn't want to have to write off and pay taxes on all this fucking money, so he was always bonusing.
So can you imagine what it was doing it underground sea cables from continent to continent?
God.
Oh
I
yeah,
always. That's one thing I regret now. Why didn't we know about that? They sure didn't show me that on career day. I mean,
Right.
can you imagine the money
Right.
you make laying underground sea cables? I mean,
Firm.
God, just get on that. When you're 21 years old, get on that boat, go for
There
5 or
it
6
is.
years, and you retire.
Is that the school?
No, this
Okay.
is
No, that's
this
a-
is an office building that I was actually the QC department for this entire job, and in between the glass panels, this is all retarded. It's got retarder on it, right? So the face is aggregated, but you've got different color blends for each stripe, and then you get down here. If you can see my cursor, you get down here to the bottom,
Yeah.
and these parts are different colors inlays of Italian marble. It took 9 months to get this shipped over from Italy, and you had to pour the inlays into the concrete, and they sent 0 extra
Yeah.
pieces. There was nothing. If you crack a piece, you're fucked.
Yeah,
I've been there.
Yeah, so we pulled it off. No pieces broke. There was one panel that had to be jackhammered apart to take the thing out of it, but
That's just amazing. Especially
Italy
when
makes
you
the
go about
best-
no extra pieces.
yeah,
Italy
I
makes
was
the
pretty.
best
I like
material.
when I asked that question, assuming they would have sent like one extra piece of each at
Yeah.
least. And when they said no, there's no extra pieces, I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
I know you were like.
I was
really-
mad.
Yeah, you don't want to mess up one thing.
It's like, hold on. So you put up a situation where if something happens here, we're 9 months delayed. You didn't budget in an extra piece to.
Yeah.
Hey, since Joe Cool's here and we're going to get back to talking about 1A stuff, I just wanted to put this up. I don't know if we can see. Hold on. Damn it.
Firm, I wanted to ask you what
You
you
found
thought
the bridge?
of all those Chinese.
No, it was the Stan Musial Bridge was the name of the bridge that I was working on.
Say it
Last-
again.
Stan Musial.
Is that like the baseball player?
Yes.
Yeah, the baseball player.
Yeah.
Firm, I wanted to ask you what you think of all the Chinese buildings falling apart.
I think it's awesome.
There's another.
Here's what I
Look
used
at
to
that.
build, if you can see that.
Oh wow.
That's the round cage that we were doing. That's
No,
all the
we don't see yours. We
rebar.
don't see yours. Is that his?
That's some
close?
serious rebar work there, buddy.
Yeah.
Where's the round cage?
That's what we're standing. That guy's standing in it. If you can.
Oh,
see
right
the
there.
room.
Okay. Flo didn't have it on. He didn't have it
Oh,
on.
I'm sorry.
There we see it now.
And yeah, I missed doing that work too. That was really awesome work. You were climbing 30, 40 feet in the air when they would pick it up to unharness stuff, and it was pretty cool.
So even though you miss it, your body, I'm sure, feels it.
Yeah. No, my body don't miss it at all. That's the only reason I had to quit was because my hands were going numb.
Oh yeah, man. I still have like reduced sensitivity. I can't feel in my fingertips as well as for sure. That concrete chemical burn you.
Oh, I bet, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, from all the tile work I did, when I my hands feel good now, but not about a year ago. I literally put 8 screws in my desk with a screw gun, and my hands were in severe pain for 6 weeks after 8 screws.
Yeah, you got arthritis, bro.
Bad.
A disobedient blind Flo would still be getting nudes. If you were blind, you'd still get it. Oh, that's funny.
Did you must have saw me eating. I don't have any Pop-Tarts this evening. That was an earlier today thing.
No, you were eating a pink cake earlier, weren't you?
Yeah, it's like strawberry cake or something.
So, Joe, do you have any information on the charges that lady got charged for?
Actually, yeah, I do have them. I'll try to remember them because otherwise I got to go on my text to get them. The first one was false alarm. When the ladies ignored her and she was like, "Really, you're just gonna ignore me? Fire, rape, help, fire."
Yeah, I am. Yeah,
you know, it's being sarcastic. Next one was interfering with official duties, resisting arrest,
That's what it was.
and
as she was knocked out.
Evading, that's what it was.
Evading
Yeah.
and resisting. Yeah.
The first link you sent me, by the time I got around to watching it, it was already removed by the uploader.
Okay. Well, there was so many of them. It was.
I watched this. I listened to the whole second one.
I watched mine. I put a video up this morning.
And
I heard Firm had a good one too. Yeah.
Old Joe, I didn't realize there was a clip from Ocean's 11. I'm not playing it. I will watch it, but I'm not playing that on the stream.
Yeah, I just wanted because I know you do talk about cop shit. This would be in the air. I'm sure you heard about it. One of our friends, in fact, I'm sure Fern probably been out with her. I've been out with her a lot when I go to Texas. Weigh about $112, little bitty, skinny waisted. I don't know if you've seen the picture. You seen that picture, Flo?
I've seen her picture, but I don't think Flo has yet.
No.
I seen the picture.
Let me send it to you. You won't be able to hear me. I got to mute.
Yeah, it's the shock of the community right now. I know that for sure. If this doesn't add some change and go viral, I will be 100% amazed, because after I jumped on it at about 5:30 this morning, I would say probably by noon, there was over 10, 12 channels that were already doing it. And then by 2 o'clock, there was probably 20 people doing it, and some channels that were 500,000 K subscribers. SJVT did one, James Freeman did one, and it's this one's gonna end this guy's career. I mean,
James Freeman was the guy I was talking about who goes to the public buildings, and he does end up getting arrested a few times, but he always beats the rap, just not the ride.
James don't get arrested a whole lot.
I was gonna say that, yeah.
He got arrested 5 years ago, I remember.
I remember years ago last
Right.
time. I remember about 3 years ago last time I remember.
So he sits behind a microphone nowadays.
Yeah, and all of
Good
us go
kid.
to public buildings a lot.
Yeah.
Even as a cop watcher, I go to a lot of public buildings. I sent you the picture of the rap sheet, Flo. It's also got the charges on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, James Freeman is good.
Yeah, James Freeman, I credit with his philosophy, not so much his style, which is very good, one of the best, if not the best. Well, maybe had Jeff Gray, but his philosophy of fiction and these people lie all the time, how to treat them, how to talk to them, don't trust them. That the government is a fiction made up by some guy. His philosophy is what impresses me so fucking much.
Well, if we all had our gun rights, we could defund the police and just have Officer Sam Colt on my hip to deal with any of
I'm
the
not
crime.
sure how that's possible because
I think you need to go back to your turtles.
Yeah.
Every powerless fuck.
Who's rubbing their microphone?
Not me.
Yeah, I'm holding mine in the air. I shouldn't be rubbing it. Every powerless fucks want to impose their will on somebody else. So if they want a gun, but they don't want you to have a gun.
True.
Jody, it was not a joke. And I thank you to, I'm not going to name names, but thank you to the PayPal and the comment. Where'd it go? I just love to look at your face, I think it was.
Hey, Joe Firm was.
I love looking
excited
at
to
your
be on the
face.
same-
So you're welcome, ma'am. I'm happy. Thank you for the cash.
Firm was
Okay.
excited to be on the same panel as you, and I told him ain't nothing about it. It ain't.
Same,
Did you hear me?
man. Same.
Huh?
I've been. I said, yeah, I heard you, and same. I've been a fan of Firm. In fact, Firm had us some shit, right? Didn't they take a lot of your videos or some Firm?
Yes, unfortunately, and then they demonetized me.
Did you get any of that shit back? I think by now you got your watch hours up. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I still haven't figured out. I got to reapply on July 7th, and I still haven't found somebody else to look at my videos because I have a narrow-minded view. I think they're fine, but something's obviously wrong with them that they don't like. I don't know if it's my shorts, because I do so many of them, you know.
Right.
Why were you demonetized? Do you know?
They said
It's the percentage of your content that is replays of others. I mean, that's because you put up other people's videos, and so your channel is not the first channel that footage is up.
Right.
So it recognizes it as a mirroring is what happens. So
and that's what I'm wondering.
That is it.
Especially if you ain't talking. I got a few buddies that done lost their monetization for that exact reason.
Well, yeah, but on my shorts, I've been watching how people do their shorts, and I don't mind or not.
I don't think it's your shorts.
Yeah, I wouldn't assume it's a short.
Because no, shorts are where you're fine. Shorts have a copyright policy that's way looser than other content.
See, that's what I thought. But my main question is that, like I've said, on one of the do's and don'ts of shorts is that you're not supposed to what would you call it? Give people credit. You know, like you're not supposed to tag other channels because you can't click on links anymore on shorts.
I put them up in every short. I put their name up right there in the video.
See, I do too. I mean, I try to give everybody and anybody credit, and that's one of my biggest reasons why I do shorts is to bring.
I tag people in the description box.
Yeah,
it can't be that.
That's what I thought. Okay. Well, then all my other videos I've taken down. That my long videos that I felt were not creative enough and or I didn't do anything, but I've been trying to follow Rogue Nation and how he does his reviews. You know, when he gets a video sent to him from a channel that doesn't have that many.
33 watching. Illuminati confirmed.
But I took down, hopefully, you know, I've taken down probably 15, 16 videos now just to make sure. And like I said, I'm going to cross my fingers July 7th. And
I'm getting pretty good at this. If you want to, you know, I'll give you my number if you want to do that shit. And you can show me. I don't know how we can figure it out backstage somewhere. You can just send me the links, put them on Unlisted, and I could tell you what I think it is. I'm getting pretty good at this shit. All I do is violate the rules, right? I'm really good at it.
And dude, Joe, I've been unmonetized for a year now. It'll be a year and 4 days.
Wow,
that's gotta suck.
I've known about it for some months, man. And I watched your shit that first night I heard about it. He was like, if everybody can give him up fucking 30 minutes, I tried to give you your 30. Yeah.
Thanks for that, Flo.
Yeah.
I got you, man.
I know you do.
But anyway, Joe, so what do you feel about this 25-foot rule?
I'm assuming it's going to be broken. It's going to be turned over on appeal. In Chicago, when there's a traffic stop, there's so many people walking down the sidewalk. All are in possible violation. And then you get, I did see the rule, you have to tell them once to move. They only get one time. If they don't listen, it's like what happened to CFW. They said, you got to move. She said, okay, I'll move. Will you tell me why first? And she's under arrest. You're giving that power to every fucking cop. And again, in Chicago, 100 people walk past you during a traffic stop on a busy day. So I see nothing but inherent issues with that. And 25 feet, they're going to do it, though. I mean, they don't like us. They don't like authority. And a chick said it best, that the reason they don't like us is because we're the first sign of resistance that somebody is willing to rebel, and they got to squash that, because we'll be telling other people you can rebel too. I think it's
You can rebel too.
tyrannical.
The law, just because something's against the rules or illegal, does not mean it's not an option for you. It just means it's a higher stakes activity.
Right.
That's
Are you coming up, Nicolina? She might
Coming
have
up
just
on
stopped-
these nuts.
She might have just stopped by to say hi.
She might have. It's a little. It's. I think it's a little later than it seems like she's usually.
Oh yeah, because she's
around
East
doing stuff.
Coast.
Well, and I don't know. I just noticed that she tends to do things earlier in the day than me, of course.
Yeah, I've been stuck on a night kick here lately.
Man, it's. I don't know how I get thrown into it in the stream. And then I'll like correct my sleep schedule, and then I just instantly go back
Today's.
To sleeping days and being awake nights. I've always been sort of nocturnal, but I've never had a lifestyle this conducive to being nocturnal. And so now that I can pull it off, it's like it's bad.
Well, I noticed one night when I was on your stream, very late night. I think I was on there till about 1 o'clock. I get off and then I wake up at 7 in the morning, and you're still on. I don't know if you'd stopped at rest and came back on, but I was like, Flo, have you been up?
Wait,
all
was
night?
it the other night? Was it just the other night?
I think it was a couple weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
He's done it several times. But I told Flo last week, Joe, I said, you know what? You know you're fucked up when you have the same sleep patterns as Flo.
I know. There's a lot of you motherfuckers that are just as bad as me.
I used to be worse. I used to go to sleep 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. Whenever daytime hit, the light hit, I'll be trying to turn over and get some sleep. Not because I'm sleepy, but because I don't want to
Because
be
you
up
feel
all
like
the
you
time.
need to.
Yeah, I feel obligated. But my girl goes to sleep at like 8:30. So my whole sleep pattern has changed, man. I'm falling asleep at 10, 11 o'clock. You know I'm sleepy as fuck now.
I used to only get 2 hours a night of sleep. When I got back from Indonesia,
I used to do meth too.
I wasn't doing meth. What I was doing was I was editing footage, and I would get on and edit all night, and I did that so often that it just totally screwed my sleep to the point where I had to go to the doctor and get on Xanax. First, they gave me that Ambien, and that stuff screws you up.
Yeah,
That's just bad news. It's all bad news.
That's like night murder stuff.
Yeah, I hear it fuck with your nightmares, give you nightmares. And
I did all sorts of things in my sleep. Well, I was sleepwalking around. I sleep drove to my ex-girlfriend's house.
Was that on Ambien?
On Ambien.
Oh.
Yeah, so I took him, and then I had a roommate who owed me money, and he and his girlfriend were in their bedroom watching a movie, and I guess that I went and I decided it was time for him to pay me, and so I went and I started like wailing on the door, like raging out at the door, and demanding my money right now and shit, and then I'd get tired of it and I'd give up, and then I'd forget it and I did it again. And I did it like 3 or 4 times that night where I'd like rage out and then I'd lose interest and then I'd forget I'd already raged out and I'd do it again. and then I drove to my ex-girlfriend's house. I parked in the driveway, I parked in the fire lane at her apartments. Apparently I walked in, I sat down Indian style on the kitchen floor facing the fridge, and then she took me to bed and I woke up the next morning like, what the fuck happened? Where's my car?
You were very popular the next day, I'm sure, with your roommate and your ex. And,
Yeah. And were you sleeping during all this?
I don't remember any of it.
Oh, yeah. Because they say that on Ambien, you'll do all that while sleeping.
Yeah, that shit is brutal.
It's notorious for people sleep driving.
Yeah.
I just heard it on commercials. I just thought, but they give all those side effects real fast. I didn't even know people had bad problems with it. It's just a sleeping pill, right?
It's a sleeping pill, but you need to, if you don't make most sleeping pills, you'll feel yourself go down and get tired. Not this one. You're up, and if you're not in bed and ready for it to hit you, you're still up.
Right.
I hear it's a narcotic. Someone told me that today.
Yeah, it is.
It didn't work for me, and that's probably why it flows, because I didn't go right into bed. So then when they put me on Xanax, then I was able to sleep for 8 hours a night. That fixed me.
Yeah, Xanax are good.
I only had to do that for I only had to do that for a little while, and once I got my sleeping schedule back, then I got off of it, and then from that point on, I was able to sleep normal again.
Hey, Dr. Daniel, are those tattoos on your picture there? Is that you right now? Is that what you look like?
Yeah.
So you're trying to look like your leopard turtle.
That's actually Mayan.
I'm just
Yeah, he'd have to get a shell. Go big or go home, man. Have a shell implanted into your
I
back.
know. If you get, hey, I could go transition into a turtle.
Trans species, I see.
Yeah.
I'm with it.
I like the term now that they're putting out there, pretender gender.
Oh God.
I like that. Pretender gender.
Yeah, Katie's up. Jody, Katie's up late with me now too. I fucked her up
Oh gosh.
in all the ways, catch my drift.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like sex. I'm talking about sex, Toxic Angel.
Of course.
Holy shit, that mugshot don't look good, Joe.
Yeah,
You see it, huh?
All right. The charges are that.
Here,
And I can't believe it. Can you believe it got him for doing a false call? That was later. I guarantee you they added that on later. They didn't arrest her originally for that. You know?
Oh wow! Ouch.
And then the charges are false alarm or report, interfere with public duties, resist arrest, and evading arrest.
It's funny. She's knocked out. You can hear her gurgling, honestly. And he's saying, "Quit resisting."
It looks like she's got a broken eye socket.
It does, right? I said the
Yep.
same.
Oh, so
And if
the cop screwed her up. That's
Yeah.
why she looks that way in the
If
picture.
you
Wow.
if you ain't heard the video when he slams on the ground, she's snoring, and you can hear him stop resisting. As if she's somehow able. You see that she was out cold, and she's snoring so loud, it's
Yeah.
crazy. And
I thought it was gurgling, not snoring. I thought it was
Well,
actually.
one of the
There- I
thought it
officers
was
are
like that.
saying she's bleeding. She's
Agonal
bleeding.
breathing.
They're
What's it called?
notorious for saying stop resisting when they want to keep beating.
Oh,
Man, they were screaming it to me that like the whole time that I was getting raided. I'm like,
Oh,
They do it. They tell us,
I'm like,
stop reaching
"Don't
for my
fucking
gun.
shoot me."
They say, stop reaching for my gun. That's what they do when they fuck with us here. That shit's scary as hell.
God.
Stop,
That's why. That's
You'll
why
get
they
shot.
say one of the most dangerous things is in encountering with police officers. There's always a chance of being killed.
Yeah.
Seven
I'm not. I
times more
don't.
likely to die when they walk up on you. Seven
Yeah.
times
I'm not
more likely.
disappointed that I didn't get to see or hear that video footage. Cause there's something.
Yeah.
I hear you, dude. It's bad.
This real violence is different from movie violence audibly.
Right.
Yeah.
When you
Joe,
you
so you think
hear-
she was snowing and not gurgling? I
I'm
mean,
No,
gonna,
that's
I'm gonna
called
send Flo the link.
It's called agonal breathing, is what that's called.
Agnol with the A?
AGNOL, agonal breathing.
Anal
It's
breathing.
basically a death
Agonal.
rattle is what they
Anal.
call. We used to call it was a death rattle.
Yeah, I've heard death rattle.
Yeah, the guy that the second video Joe sent me, the guy had been in Iraq, and he said that was like something about this, like your brain trying to get oxygen to the brain.
Right.
He said that that was the sound of a brain injury.
Okay, so
Wow.
that's what was going on.
The minute you're knocked out, your body goes into a natural reflection, or natural resources. It'll do its breathing. Your heart's got to beat, and you got to get your brain some oxygen. So your body, first thing it wants to do is try to breathe in as much as possible. And if you're bent in any way or any type of obstruction, that's usually what happens. And usually that's in a head injury, because your head's usually off to the side and stuff like that. But it's one of the worst. I mean, I have a few nightmares still from a couple kids that I came upon that were doing that, and
That's all.
yeah, it's not a thing that you and I've only watched that video of her one time. That's all I had to watch. Every time that everybody
The
kept
link-
showing it, I had to keep turning it off because it was that
The
bad.
link is in the back chat, Flo. You can fast forward all the way to the end.
What the link I just said? I'm not sad. I didn't see.
yeah, that one. And
You know-
isn't it the same sound I hear that everybody makes when they get knocked out?
Yeah,
it sounds
no,
the
it
same
is.
noise to me.
I saw.
Well, I'm not listening to it. I will put it in the front chat. People can listen to it at their own leisure.
Yeah, you guys just go
This
to
is-
the end, the last 60 seconds.
I really don't like watching all the police brutality videos, like what Paul plays on nonstop loop. It makes me just angry.
If
You
it
can't
makes you feel
see
any
this
better,
one.
there
You
is
just
no
know what happened.
accompanying video. It's all black, so there's nothing to see. It's just
Yeah, you can't see it. You just know what happened.
Yeah, I mean, I know what happened, and that's enough for me personally. I don't need to.
Especially after seeing her face, you can imagine how hard it hit to give 2 black eyes and fuck up her nose and her eyes.
Well, I heard the
sunken
dude who's the second video you sent me. I listened to that whole thing, so I heard him talking about it and her size and who this cop is and what happened, and
That was probably CJ, her lawyer. He used to be
Yeah,
an
it
activist.
is. It is.
Yeah. He used to be an activist.
The only thing watching that would do for me is just get me in a
Enrage
pissed off
you
emotional
off.
state. It won't change shit.
Right.
I saw Jocko Williams, the Navy SEAL. I think
Willing.
it's Willings, yeah, on Joe Rogan, and he had a really good point about a way to change what's going on with police, and he was talking about police just don't have adequate training on how to
Bullshit.
de-escalate.
Bull fucking shit. I mean, that is true, but that's
It's all personality, I believe.
it will not solve the problem. You're
That
still
is-
these are character flaws that we're dealing with,
It
not
is. It is.
Yeah, how do you train morals into a motherfucker?
Yeah, you can't train a man not to rush over and beat the shit out of a middle-aged small woman who's talking to 2 other female officers. That's not a training issue.
And it's so strange. I mean, haven't these men been taught not to hit women?
I mean, well, you know what? They probably have. I'm going to weather a guess that they just don't give a fuck, which
Once
is
they get
obviously the
that-
thing.
Once they get that badge, all of a sudden, the rules. about-
People
it
have
doesn't.
always
They don't even need a badge.
sadistic people have always been sadistic people. The badge just gives them the freedom to do it in the open.
Wow.
Yeah, and the job opportunity. They know where to go to get a job where they can do that shit and get away with it now.
So there really is no changing this.
Well, I'm not that guy. I don't ever believe that shit. I just might not be smart.
We got to
enough, but
change the
there's
law.
always
Changing the
a way.
law so that cops are protecting victims, not creating them, is
Yes.
the crux. Until we do that, it won't change. I don't think.
Serve and protect, as opposed to being out there doing traffic duty, but for some reason these traffic cops think they're DEA every time they pull you over for a traffic.
Their job is to provide customers for court. The incentive structure systematically is backwards.
Yeah.
I like what James Freeman said today. He says until they're held accountable for their actions, they'll never change.
Yeah.
They're never held accountable. I'm not talking about
he had a
individual
good line
incidents. I'm talking about
The
overall.
more people they hurt, the more incentive they get to hurt people. The more promotions they get, the more money they get. That's ass backwards.
Yeah, I mean, something to consider is whenever a police department gets sued, right? Everybody looks at it as a victory. Oh, yeah, they got sued for police brutality. But what they don't consider is that in the budget, that just means they get a bigger legal budget next year.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they got to spend all that money because if they don't, they'll start taking it back. So they prefer to be over budget.
Wow.
The 31 years I was in working for the government one way or another, at the end of budget time, which is always the end of June, we waste money like you would not believe, because if you don't spend that money next budget time, you're not going to get as much. We would waste it on the craziest crap. I mean, stupid shit.
They got people got caught like in little small towns buying Bearcats and ex-military shit and raiding small time dope dealers' houses at the end of the year because they'd have to give it back. So it'll be some guy who sells weed and they're knocking down his door with an MCAT and an M.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about the
It always
fake?
happens end of June.
How about the fake fentanyl overdoses? That there's been 2 cops dropped.
I've seen like 4 of
Yeah,
them.
the fake cop overdoses. Turned
Yeah.
out all of them
He
were fake.
touched it
Yeah.
and died.
Man,
Yeah.
I called it back then. I knew that shit was fake. I was like, this is bullshit. This is bullshit. They're doing the crack panic. thing again.
And
It's
you
just
know
a new
what? It's all to scare the public into giving them more money for their budget to do something about this fentanyl.
Not
which
just more
That's what I
money,
said.
more
Yeah, go ahead,
restricted,
Joe.
more rights too, right?
Yeah.
That's even more important, I think.
I went back to
Trump-
all the time back in the 40s when they were giving marijuana was the refuer madness.
Reefer
It's the same
madness.
story
Reefer madness.
over.
It
They
is.
never change. Never change.
Trump suggested the death penalty for fentanyl dealers at one of his rallies.
Yeah, he's
Yeah, I saw that shit. Instant death penalty for all.
Well, instead of doing that, why not just stop the freaking, the whole thing where China they're bringing Chinese chemists over to Mexico to make the fentanyl and then bring it
Why
into
don't
the
just-
United States.
Just make it legal. Like our police have no place interfering with who travels from China to Mexico. That sure as shit ain't our job. Just make it all legal and
Yeah.
find a better fucking job.
And let's be honest, they wouldn't be bringing all that shit over here if the U.S. wasn't demanding it. If it wasn't the demand for it,
And if
they'd be
there
all
wasn't
trying to
such a margin, the only reason there's such a profit to be made is because it's
fuck us.
illegal.
It's illegal.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just it's business. That's all it is. Just business.
It's
Big Pharma is
insane.
it's just cartel, just like the Mexican cartel, just like the
It is.
Carrying from Colombia. They're the Big Pharma and their enforcements. And I tell my retired LA County Sheriff friend I golf with, tell him every time. I said, you work for Big Pharma. You're the cartel for Big Pharma, just like the Mexicans have their cartel. They have their enforcers. You enforce Big Pharma's laws.
This
That's all they
gang
ever
shit-
did.
This gang shit over here, the gang leader gets out of jail, he rides to every spot and tell them how much of their money they have to contribute, and if they don't, he shut them down. It is the same as government, police. I want my cut. You got to sell drugs through me and give me a cut, or else you are not allowed to sell. It's the same
That's
shit.
like
I've been
Big
living-
Pharma. Same thing, right, Joe?
Same shit as Big Pharma, but I'm telling you, it's gang banging shit. It's the same shit I've been.
Well, they're a gang. The police
growing
are
up
the
with.
gang.
Well,
They're the same gang.
I
They're the same
watched a
gang.
documentary on how the DEA. Okay, so when the doctors were giving out good amounts of oxycodone, what happened is the DEA goes and pressures the doctors to cut off these people abruptly, who then go through mass withdrawal. And what do? They instantly go to the street to get fentanyl and oxys, which is coming from the cartel. So what it did is the DEA actually sent all the business from the doctor straight to the cartel.
Yeah, they got more drug users. Yeah.
And all that shit, and at the same time the fentanyl popped up, we withdrew from Afghanistan, and the Taliban shut down poppy production. So then you had a crunch on opium supplies. So you had to get more.
So we created our own issues there as well.
Yeah, and absolutely in all the ways.
We killed the
Joe,
Taliban.
Joe and the rest of you guys, good night. I got to go. I got a poker tournament.
All right, good night. Good night, Ham.
Thanks for coming up, Harmon. Good luck on your poker tournament.
Yeah, Harmon, nice to meet you.
So yeah, the Taliban were killing the poppy growers in Afghanistan, and then we go there at war. We kill the Taliban, and then poppy production explodes. Next thing you know, you have the epidemic of oxycodone, which comes from poppies, and so it looked to me like what happened was Big Pharma got into that.
Did you say shut up?
No, I say setup. It was a
Yeah,
it was a setup.
Once they made it so they could grow those poppies in Afghanistan, then Big Pharma does something brilliant and says, okay, let's use these to make the morphine, and now we have a license to sell it legally.
I didn't pay attention to any of that stuff. Like, I mean, I sort of spaced out.
Well, I know.
Was the driving part real? I know they've been hanging out.
Yeah.
together.
Was that real or a deep fake?
No, that
they've
was
been
real.
hanging out together.
Oh,
They've
wow.
been, yeah, they've been.
I was
Yeah,
about
matter
to
of fact,
say,
there's a really good when Trump drives off in the plane. The guy is out there waving to him like his lover or something. It's really embarrassing. He's waving like a big kid, and Trump's in the window of the plane waving back. It's disgusting.
All right, guys, I gotta go too. Thanks for having me by again, Flow State. It's been an honor, and it's nice to meet all you guys. And by the way, Firm Audit, I found your channel and subscribed.
cool. Thank you.
All right, buddy. You guys have a nice day.
Take
Thank
it
you.
easy.
Great meeting you.
Easy, bro.
All right, Adam87, come up here, click the link, so that I can dress you down. Come on. Grow some
Good.
balls. Take your own advice and grow some balls.
I know one thing. I used to do low voltage, and we did a lot of alarm systems. And back in I would want to say it was probably 2003, I had to go show up at a place and work on some vault alarms, contacts. And because when they were checking them, they noticed that they were faulty, they were loose or something like that. I can't remember what it was. And I was one of the only ones that was free at the time to get down there so quick because they had to have them that night. So anyway, so I get down there and I have to go through this obscene checkpoint, basically stripped down naked. And I mean, I'm frisked from head to toe. My jacket had to come off, my hat had to come off, my shoes had to come off. And
did you spread them cheeks?
I pretty much almost had to when I figured out what was going on here. And the guy's like, hey, look, this guy here is going to be your escort. And I'm looking over and the dude's standing there with an M16. And I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? And I call my boss. I'm like, dude, he goes, oh yeah, I forgot. You've never been down there before. Hey, just do whatever they say, get it fixed, and make sure that you don't leave until it's done. I'm like, all right. Well, the company was called Mallinckrodt, and they were a pharmaceutical company. And they actually made the medicines, they didn't actually make the pills, but they combined the medicines to actually make them to be packaged. And the vault that I was going to was a vault of cocaine. And the vault next to it had barbiturates and the chemicals that were used to make that. And it was one of the weirdest things. And I got to talking to this guy, and stuff. And he started telling me about how, the CIA helps get this brought in across the Mexican border. And, pretty much it's illegal cocaine. And, sometimes, we'll import the poppies and we'll make it ourselves. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. I mean, like crazy that we do that, but we do.
Absolutely. And I think that it's pretty common knowledge at this point that the CIA brings in drugs. So I don't know why we still have anybody at all on Earth who has an opinion like Adam87.
Right.
I be thinking that be because they're paid. Most people ain't that sheepish. These motherfuckers are ex-drug addicts or something. They get a little stipend to get up in here and say dumb shit like that and see if they can get people to believe them.
I think that it's an ortho bro thing. I don't know if that's why I asked if he's an ortho bro, but I know that there's a bit of an authoritarian culture around the ortho bro sphere.
What is that?
Ortho bros, Orthodox Christianity.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I'm muted, huh? Yeah, my first time hearing that too.
Yeah, like Andrew Wilson is and Jay Dyer are the two most known ortho bros, but Jim Bob's in there. Like EBT. I'm sorry, EBT is Catholic, but TBE. Let's see, Weirdo John. There's a few of them around. IFI. I don't know that he's not Orthodox, but IFI has a lot of that culture to him.
What is that, old Joe?
I think I'm abandoning you guys too, man. I'm trying my best here, but I'm falling out. So
Goodbye.
Later, guys.
I'm not. It's not going to be a long stream for me. I just didn't want to miss the number.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I've got a couple of little videos. Actually, I'm gonna unpin the link. I've got a few little videos I'll probably just review before I call it a night. You're welcome to stay. You're free to go. So
I'm gonna run myself, if that's cool.
that's absolutely cool.
And I appreciate you letting me up here, brother.
For sure. Anytime. Thanks for
And-
coming up. I appreciate your opinion on the topic, especially.
Yeah, no, dude, I was kind of glad to see that. I didn't want to push it the other night, yesterday when I was talking, or today when I was talking about it. But yeah, it's ridiculous what they're doing
Mm-hmm.
on both the 25-foot thing and the Carolina thing.
I know, but you know what? Louisiana has fucked up laws, anyways. I've always heard. I've never been there, but
Yeah, they do. And hopefully we're going to make a change. But anyways, brother, peace out.
be good.
Later. I got to figure out how to get out of here.
Let's see. Oh, the wrong thing. Looking at the wrong thing. So, old Joe, I think that you need to make a channel. Do you have content? I don't think you have content. If you do, I don't know about it. And just your little like bits of old Joe insight or wisdom, just do little shorts or little uploads, you know, with your little Joe thoughts. Not that I want you to quit doing your drive-by commenting. I want that to continue, but I think that people would enjoy that. I think that would be a hit. I know I'd look out for him. Let's watch this.
And the police right there.
So that's one of my biggest pet peeves is how many people say shit like, we can't legalize drugs. Look at what happened on the West Coast. To which my response is the obvious that statement. I feel like it's obvious that it's not because they legalize drugs, it's because they legalize crime. There's crime because they legalize crime. There's not crime because they legalize drugs and then it just flooded with crime. If you can get away with that shit in California, it's because they're not enforcing laws. That is actually dangerous, you know, and taunting. So, Fook, you with your look what the drugs did on the West Coast. No, legal crime did that. All right, let's watch these. I got two little clips here that I'll do next. I don't know how I feel about that. Like, don't mistake me playing this for me endorsing this all the way. My jury is out on this, but I do think it's an interesting. I'll just play it. I'll shut up.
If they keep pitching me slow 16-inch fatties, I'm going to keep knocking them out of the park. And if you're new to what I do here, well, I've done a lot of these videos, and I'm going to try to not say any names here, but you get the picture. The picture that one guy is playing the other. And I always thought it was just when the one guy was falling, but oh no, it's more than that. Have you ever seen the movie Bruce Almighty? The one where a certain someone plays God? And hey, that's a nice globe they throw in there. Well, do you remember this scene where he is controlling his voice? Because it looks an awful lot like something I've seen that other guy do recently. And when you pair those two clips up side by side, there's no doubting the intentionality behind it. Because I lined this up without editing it, and the synchronicities are undeniable. Watch the handshake. Even here, he looks like he smells a fart when they're making a farting noise. Down to the hand movement yet again. And then next comes the exact same mouth movements at the exact same time followed by the exact same grin at the end. It's undeniable. And if you're new to seeing the fact that they do this with these two guys, stick around. I'll show you some evidence that I've used in past videos. But look at this, guys. You don't see it? You're just choosing not to. And just to show you how far they go in this mockery, watch his face. Like he looks like he smelled something at the same time of those noises.
I'm sorry, we seem to be having some technical.
That clip seemed a little quiet. Let's see. I'll play the second one. It's a little bit short. It's actually considered
Difficulties. In other news. My apologies.
Like I said, if you're new here, it's not the first time they've done this. It's predictive programming. It's mockery. It's saying you're too dumb to realize that he is being played by him, and we're going to put it right in your face, and you're still not going to realize it. Even when there's a guy on social media pointing it out over and over and over again. But as always, I'm just here to entertain, and this is all for entertainment purposes. They don't really look anything alike. Definitely not side by side, having the same features. No, they're two totally separate people. Entertainment purposes only.
all for entertainment purposes. So what do you think? I don't know. Like the similarities are too striking to miss, but I don't know. I don't know that whole. It's kind of hard to wrap your head around. It could also be like reverse psychology, right? Like mind games. If you think that mind games are not being played on people at a massive scale, you've never heard of the Tavistock Institute. And let's see where to go. I would absolutely, exactly like Fermat had said, I would legalize everything and treat it all like alcohol in a heartbeat. We forgive you this time. The Swiss banker whose father was assassinated, we interviewed today, Pascal Najadi, says he's the reincarnation of JFK and Biden was executed. The Swiss banker's name, so the Swiss banker's whose father was assassinated, he thinks that the guy you interviewed thinks that he's the reincarnation of JFK and Biden was executed. Adam, I thought you were going to come up and talk to me. This is not an open panel. This is just an Adam link. He must have lost it. Do you think he's JFK? It takes a lot of crazy to make that claim in public and not recognize how it's going to be received. Nobody wants to touch the Jim Carrey, an opinion on the Jim Carrey thing. Well, here, then let's see if this.
The mess is the culmination of a lot of work that we did at CIA over a period of, I'd say, 10 years, developing that technology. It was a big challenge to come up with something that finally actually animated and worked to really fool a person closer than 3-4 feet from you. But we did.
They learned the art.
We actually brought Hollywood back into our labs at one point to look at what we had done, and they were stunned. They're absolutely stunned.
Congratulations.
The fact that we're allowed to show it tells me the CIA have moved on. I don't know what they're doing. I shouldn't know. I'm dying to know, but I don't know.
Relax. You'll get to see it all later on.
So I'm proud to show people how good we got to that point and let them imagine So what are they doing?
Joe, so if you legalize anything, you would see more use initially, probably a couple years. Somebody just popped up real quick and then dipped out. You would see, you'd see an increase at first for sure. Marijuana, not to the extent marijuana, and neither in duration nor in volume. Marijuana is so culturally accepted that it integrates easier. Like hard drugs don't have that. Thank you very much. Where are you at? Just out of curiosity, that's almost 8 a.m. What time is it here? You must be on the other side of the world. You don't do lives. I don't understand people who don't do lives. Like, you do lives. You engage from the chat. UK. Yeah, well, I guess my main point would be that the people that you want to protect the borders with growing some balls and building walls and enforcing that shit, they're the ones doing the shit. Like, you have to think, you have to play chess, not checkers. The best way to fight drugs and gang violence is to suck the profit margin out of it. How do you do that? You make everything legal. Drugs are not expensive to make. They're not. The only reason that they cost more than gold by weight. Why? Because of the prohibition. If you got rid of the prohibition, you would get rid of that massive profit margin. You'd get rid of organized crime. You'd get rid of innovative new drugs. Crack would never have been cooked. Meth would never have been developed. Fent wouldn't be flooding the markets. I mean, just all sorts of things. People wouldn't be walking around like zombies in Philadelphia because they shot up fucking Drano and horse tranquilizers. What does it mean to pull a Trump? You could chop hands off. That is true. But, I mean, do you want to live in a place where people chop hands off for doing drugs? Maybe you don't do drugs. Do you have kids? Have you ever done drugs? Are you positive that your kids will never do drugs? Adam 87. Are you young? How I'm sorry for asking these personal questions. This sounds like your position sounds fairly naive to me. I'm not gonna lie. I don't mean to be insulting or pry into your personal business, but when I hear you say shit like that, that sounds like some young man thinking. Some TikToker can make that convincing of disguises. I don't see why we would assume that anybody's real that we see on TV. I have not seen Pumping Vinyl this stream. I saw him earlier today. After I stopped on on Rachel's earlier this morning just for a minute at the end, and then when I streamed later, I saw Pumping because I was asked what I thought of Pumping Vinyl, and I said I don't have a strong opinion either way, and Pumping Vinyl came in right after. Like at the beginning of my next stream to let me know that I'm neutral and they're booked as well. What are we hashing out? Who's hashing out what? I'm totally confused. Does somebody have a beef with me that needs to be hashed out? How about Frank Zappa?
Schools train people to be ignorant with style. They give you the equipment that you need to be a functional ignoramus. American schools do not equip you to deal with things like logic. They don't give you the criteria by which to judge between good and bad in any medium or format. And they prepare you to be a usable victim for a military-industrial complex that needs manpower. As long as you're just smart enough to do a job and just dumb enough to swallow what they feed you, you're going to be all right. But if you go beyond that, you're going to have these grave doubts that give you stomach problems, headaches, make you want to go out and do something else. So I believe that schools mechanically and very specifically try and breed out any hint of creative thought in the kids that are coming up.
Well put, Frank Zappa. So I guess I don't know what you want to hash out. Are you going to reveal your identity, or do you think that you're going to convince somebody who's obsessed with figuring out your identity to not figure out your identity? Well said, Frank Zappa. Anybody who's listened to me for long enough knows that I'm an antagonist of the school systems, just like basically all systems. What next? What next? How about this gym from the 80s? And yes, this is Dr. Fauci talking about
starting to see, as we're seeing virtually as the months go by, other groups that can be involved, and seeing it in children is really quite disturbing.
When you say other close contact, give me some examples.
Well, for example, if the close contact of a child is a household contact, perhaps there will be a certain number of cases of individual who are just living with and in close contact with someone with AIDS or at risk of AIDS, who does not necessarily have to have intimate sexual contact or share a needle, but just the ordinary close contact that one sees in
yeah, sure. If pumping shows up here and you guys want to hash it out, I'll happily drop a link. That sounds kind of interesting to me. Not gonna lie.
How many children or people are totally unvaccinated? Is that where do you find? Is it just the parents that stepped up and said? I would think that's a very small percentage because so many of us blindly followed, the recommendations to vaccinate children.
Yeah, it's less than 1% of the public. So the Amish are a perfect example of a large group of people who are largely unvaccinated. And there's we can't find an autistic kid who was unvaccinated. It's very, very rare in the Amish community, very, very rare. You won't find kids with ADD, with autoimmune disease, with panda pans, with epilepsy. You just don't find any of these chronic diseases in the Amish. And the U.S. government has been studying the Amish for decades. But there's never been a report out to the public. The reason, of course, is it would show that, if you don't follow our guidelines, you're going to end up healthier. That's why there's no report after decades of studying the Amish. There's no report because the report would be devastating to the narrative. It would show that the CDC has been harming the public for decades and saying nothing and burying all the data.
Disclaimer. Oh, hold on. None of the things that I'm playing here are medical advice. Not promoting one thing or another. I'm just sharing interesting views. And obviously anything that goes against the officials at the CDC or APA or what the fuck ever. Obviously all that is wrong, and we should follow our supreme leaders. Absolutely. Old Joe, you still got that link? You should come up here, and I would be happy to talk in ambiguous terms about that if you want. I've got thoughts on it. Let's see. Is there any other things that I might need this disclaimer up here for? I think that's it. That is it. Disclaimer down. Pimp down.
If you're serious about change, just know you're going to go through some uncomfortable situations. Stop trying to dodge the process, because in the long run, it's going to make you better. And don't forget that shit, you heard?
That's probably the best thing all night. Like, I'm gonna play it again. That shit's dope.
If you're serious about change, just know you're going to go through some uncomfortable situations. Stop trying to dodge the process, because in the long run, it's going to make you better. And don't forget that shit, you heard?
Stop trying to dodge the process. There's so many, particularly in the manosphere, is where I notice people coming to the internet and looking for like a cheat code to relationships. They're trying to dodge the process a lot. How can I have a guaranteed success before I enter a risky situation where I might get rejected? And you can't dodge the process. You'll never find anybody. Nobody like me can ever teach you anything just by talking that would even compare anywhere close to just doing it yourself. Gotta do things yourself. Here, I'll put the link down again. Oh, there you are. What is up?
Hello, sir. How are things?
Mike,
Can you hear me okay?
Leave me alone with my bad habit.
Can you hear me, Flo?
Hey, there you are. How old is your daughter?
She is 10 months.
I'll tell you what. I'll just tell you what I did. I waited to the very last minute possible for all of them, and then I went ahead and did them, except for the very last round of ones that you get in middle school. We had her skip that, and here where I'm at, you're like in Kansas, the laws are really simple, and they won't tell you. The school won't tell you. They'll just say you have to get these, or else she can't come to school. But when you look into it, all I had to do is write a letter that said it's against our religious belief. That's it. One sentence, sign it, drop it off at the school, and she's good to go. And I wish that I had known that to do it earlier, honestly. But yeah, I would put it off until what I did do, and I think is the right thing to do if you're gonna do it, is wait till the very last minute. And like I waited until like the day before they were gonna kick her out of school to get the first round, because they do so many at the first time. Like I think they do 4 the first.
So well, maybe if you had the opportunity again, would you go without any, or would you select, a few?
I would go without them. Like my daughter's fine. She doesn't have any. As far as I can tell, it didn't do anything harmful to her. But these things are too early to know. And who knows what, you don't know what could have been. But if I were to do it again, I would skip them all. And if I did decide to do them, what I would do is spread them out, because like there are some rounds where they're going to want to do. I know one time she got 4 pokes in the same day. I would not allow that again. I would say, no, you'll do 1 today. We'll come back later. for the rest.
Do you know what my concern with mass policies are, or using mass statistics? You can use it on anything, like a person who has a firearm in the home is more likely to injure somebody in their own home. You've heard that before, right?
Yeah,
those kind of things. I think statistics can be deceiving.
absolutely.
If you apply them across an entire society, that statistic may not apply to you personally. So say, for example, what we're talking about with your daughter, she may not be in the group that would benefit from that intervention, but you have no way of knowing because the statistic that is used to justify it is broadly applied across the entire nation. Who knows what's throwing that out of whack?
Yeah. So, and I don't like, the reason that I say that I would not have them done now is not because I'm looking at statistics. It's because I have a belief in, like, we got here without them, right? You can look at the Amish, and that makes sense to me. And that's the only thing I've always heard consistently about the Amish, right? That they don't have any of these issues. I just don't think there's and here's the other thing, like, there are things involved in it, like mercury, that is for sure a neurotoxin. Always.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So if I could do it again, I would not do it again. And if I were to do it again, I would delay till the last possible second, and I would not let them dump a whole bunch at one time.
Well, there are some things that I see, like it's the same as our discussions around religion. The people that approach it with absolute certainty, then I become suspicious. So if we draw
The zealots.
the zealots. So if I draw the conversation back to the recent experience we had with how much
I know
can
what
you
you're
say?
talking about. I got you.
So there are some individuals in the medical profession that are it seems to be the ones that are pro-intervention are zealots. And the ones that are tolerant of dissenting thought seem to be more tolerant people in general. They don't seem as convinced. They seem like almost like better people to me, quite honestly.
They are better people. Zealots are never good people.
But it seems to me the people that are in the medical profession that are pro intervention seem to have that zealot flavor to them as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's some things that are really telling, though, like the fact that at least in America, manufacturers of these things have complete legal immunity. Did you know that?
Yeah, I'd heard that. Yeah.
It's the only product, I believe it's the only product at all that exists that is where the manufacturers are provided complete legal immunity. Like, they could accidentally fill a syringe with fucking Drano and they're good.
Yeah. Well, and that was because it was seen to be necessary in a unique situation, wasn't that?
Was it? I mean, that's the claim. It sounds more to me like there's something intentionally nefarious going on, and they're making up a reason why they can't be held liable down the road. That's just a pure theory on my part. I don't know either way.
Well, there's that. And you know what I have absolutely no trouble saying is that I've been in a number of bureaucracies and systems where there was a narrative that developed that was the official narrative, and it became obvious that the official narrative was not correct, and yet the amount of people that knew that and would not question it, it was absolutely stunning.
Stunning.
People will not question the official narrative, even when they know it's wrong. I've seen that. I have absolutely no doubt that exists. I've seen it many times.
That sort of need to belong is a way stronger instinct than the need for clarity or accuracy or to be right, I suppose.
Would you call it some sort of a herd impulse? Like this could go back to kind of your argument around morality. Like, people do silly things sometimes almost for an evolutionary reason? Like, what would be our reason for following instructions that we knew were wrong?
Because the group has been historically essential to our survival. I mean, it still is. If you drop me, like I'm an Eagle Scout, I'll do better than most people. But if you drop me in the woods, I'm fucked.
That's right. But do you notice how oftentimes the individuals that question the group narrative, even when people know it's false, there's commonalities around it. So during our recent event here in 2020, I was one of the ones that was not supportive of the official position, and the backlash was stunning. Very much like the backlash that you get when you try and question some of the tenets of the Bible. Almost the exact same flavor to it. Very little thinking, vilification, personal attacks, that kind of thing. And I wonder where that comes from.
I mean, I think it's the same thing. The need to belong. The need to belong. And I think that, though, when it gets combined with knowing that you're wrong on a level, right? I mean, that's what it looks like to me. Like, people know that they're full of shit, but they want what they want to believe to be true so that they can fit in comfortably.
I agree. So would you say that you're one of the types of people that would almost by default go against those kind of things?
Yeah, I think that my impulse is rebellious enough that I err the other direction.
So there's something called a contrarian. Do you know what that is?
Yes, I do, but I want you to explain it anyways.
So if you're somebody that pursues truth, that's one thing. But a contrarian will almost always go against the common narrative, even if the common narrative is accurate. It's an ego thing, right? So you've seen people like that, I'm sure, that if the group is kind of reaching a consensus, they'll do what it takes to disrupt it.
I don't think I am that. I try not to be that, but my instinct is more towards that than it is towards conformity.
Well, so the reason I brought that term up is because that would be a label that people would ascribe to somebody who tends to disagree with the general narrative. I don't feel that's who you are. That's not what you've displayed. So you remember I was saying you needed to be interviewed by somebody like have a challenging interview.
Mm-hmm.
How about I ask you a couple of questions right now as a dry run? Are you prepared?
All right, yeah, let's do that. First, let me thank Lucy for becoming a new member. Welcome to the Dollar Bin. I would play you a little clip, but I switched over to. Anyways, I don't have my clips handy right now, but thank you for buying membership. All right, ask me some tough questions.
Well, I don't know about tough, but try and challenge, try and reveal, anyways. So when I said that, what kind of a Gilroy are you wearing? That indicates a magnetic personality of some sort, right? So you draw other people to you. Now, is that something that you've noticed kind of since you've been a kid, or what?
No, my awareness, my self-awareness drags behind where it probably should be. By the time I notice things about myself, I feel kind of dumb because it's like, oh, well, this has so obviously been happening for a long ass time. How did it not click into place? I notice it now. It is I probably don't recognize it to be as much as it is. Even when I notice it, it's probably understated in my mind. And I don't think I noticed it until, well, later. Probably my mid-20s.
So now there have been times when you've displayed the ability to function in quite challenging environments. Like I think you mentioned that you may have worked like as a manager of a bank or an assistant manager or something like that.
I managed 3 branches at one point.
So you managing 3 branches, somebody with intelligence who is in charge of making the decisions to put you in that position would have seen something in you. Like that's not, in my opinion, when you're talking finance, bank, you're no longer talking phony stuff. Somebody saw some authentic ability in you before they would give you that position, right? That would probably be fair of me to say.
That'd be fair.
What would it be that they saw? Okay, if that's a hard question, let's move on to the
Well,
next one.
I mean, I give me a second. I don't know that I know the answer to it. I never thought about it.
Well, just keep it in the back of your mind because
Okay.
I'll ask you another. So, and if I get any of the timeline or the facts wrong, just let me know. But did you say that after you spent some time in jail, you came out and you worked in a concrete company or something, didn't you?
Yeah. After I got out, I needed money and I went to a temp agency, and the first day they sent us to a concrete facility. And when I got there, I talked to the foreman, and I introduced myself and what was going on. And, I'm this person and I'm in this situation. And, they said, can you pass some tests and get certification? I said, yeah. And so I got 2 certifications and ended up running the QC department there. And then for about 2 years. And then I went to another company that does basically the same thing down the road for about another year and a half.
Okay.
And then I got fired during the lockdowns.
So once again, you were there quite a short amount of time, and then you basically were put in a leadership role almost immediately, right?
Yes.
So once if you look broadly across the spectrum, there's a banking scenario, and then there's a concrete scenario. And in both of them, you were able to distinguish yourself and be recognized for a leadership position quite quickly. So there's probably something common there.
Yes, I think it's intelligence and resolve, I'd say, especially in the concrete companies, because when you're quality control over concrete workers, like you're telling them to undo and redo things, right? And these are a lot of rough people, and they're not happy to hear that. So you got to have quite the spine to do that every day, constantly.
Okay,
so I had a good temperament for it too.
Okay, so here is the question that's going to be the challenging one, and I actually think I know the answer already. But these are some pretty desirable positions. And any question I ask you, Flo, you fine to just tell me it's none of your business.
Mhm.
Why is it that you have trouble staying in any of them?
I'm a bad employee. I don't like being told what to do, and I can't. It actually is hard for me to conceive of selling my time. Really, when I get down to it, it didn't really dawn on me until the last job, actually, in probably like 2019, that even though I'd been working hourly jobs since I was 14, basically, at no point had I ever considered this time not mine. I have a drum that's mine. I march to it, and I don't like being under the ambitions of others, I suppose.
Is there any chance that in order to avoid that, or in order to do something that you see as almost immoral, I would say, that you might self-sabotage a little in those positions?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so you played a video earlier that said that the fellow was saying, if you're just dumb enough not to question, then you're going to be okay. But if you have the ability to question what you're being asked to do, then you might wind up with, what did he say, stomach cramps and headaches or whatever?
Yeah, something to that effect.
Who was that guy, anyways?
Frank Zappa.
Okay, and do you agree with him?
I do. I mean, I never had that happen. I never had those actual ailments, but it's every job I've ever had. It seems like there's kind of the learning period, and then once I've got it, and I just am supposed to just do it. At that point, I've lost interest. I'm not really mentally engaged in it anymore, and I start finding other ways to entertain myself.
So where I came from in my employment, I had gotten as high as I could go, basically. And it was a real physical challenge in the end to even show up at work. The arriving at that place was awesome. The establishing of the routines and the establishing of the infrastructure. But once that had been done, it didn't seem like I was using my time very wisely. That's the way I felt.
No, it feels like an absolute waste of time.
That's right. That's right. So I'm wondering what I'm looking for is commonalities. It seems to me like personalities, and you've done a lot of research around personalities, that worldviews seem to be fairly simple in the end. I mean, they spring out to be complex when you talk about how you implement decisions. But what I'm looking for are common personality traits that lead a person to be the kind of person that's going to question medical interventions, the kind of person that's going to question religion, the kind of person that's going to be successful in several different places of employment, but then decide that there really is no meaning in that.
It depends, and it depends on which system you're using. I don't think the MBTI provides a very good framework for the quality that you're looking for. I think that in Socionics, which is the Russian counterpart to MBTI, you're looking at high either TE, extroverted thinking, or high SE, extroverted sensation, which is my dominant function. In Big Five, you're looking for low agreeableness. It's going to be an assertive, confrontational component, I think.
So does
Actually,
go ahead.
The best system of all is the one that nobody's heard of, the one that I was training for. In between, after banking, I got hired on. Did you know the story?
No.
Okay, so at the bank, when we hired, I wouldn't interview anybody until they'd taken a personality test. It's called Culture Index is the company, and we'd email them a test, and it was fantastic. Anyways, the owner of the company offered me a job, having never met me or spoken to me or seen me. He just saw my test results and said, if you ever want a sales job for my company, you have one. And so I took him up on that offer. I quit the bank. He trained me, the owner trained me, and over a few days, and I was just waiting out where I was. I had to move for the job. And so I just was writing out the rest of the school year so my daughter could wrap up the school year, and then I was going to move, start the new job. And that's when, while I was waiting for the school year to end is when I got rated. And so that changed all the plans because it was a commissions only job. And at the time I had a little bit of money to, float me until I got a client base. And then after getting out of jail, I no longer had that, even though I did talk to him. The job's still on the table. It never went away. But
you wouldn't take it then now if you...
It sits around in the back of my brain sometimes. I can't let it go all the way away, but it's kind of a commitment. I don't know. I'm a bit of a commitment averse person.
Was there anything? Here's a total shot in the dark and projection question. But was there anything about that raid that came a little bit as a relief flow? It took that decision out of your hands, right?
Yeah, it did. I would not say that it was worth it. It caused way more stress than it solved. But from an angle, yes. Thank you, Major Facepalm. He says, "Old Joe rules. Flow state, meh. You're okay. I accept that, and Old Joe does rule." But what I was looking for is this is actually the training book for that thing. The pattern. The trait you're looking for would be the A construct, is what it's called in this, and it's basically assertiveness and self-interest, autonomous. It's not combative, but it's aggressive, assertive. And I want to find the description of that because this, I think, is the trait that you're looking for. perfectly. The A construct, autonomy. The higher A is typically a person that is future thinking, proactive, big picture thinker. Consider them having 360 degrees of mental peripheral capabilities. The higher A's simply possess vision because they solve problems naturally. High A is a person that needs and enjoys probabilities in projects involving problem solving, not single tasks. Projects have levels of deductive reasoning. Each level may have different priorities requiring decisions within them. Time restraints or deadlines may vary within the different levels, making them more risky for lower A people to execute. High A's don't like being told what to do, even though their style of communication is to tell others what to do. They can be difficult to deal with from time to time, as you are now dealing with egos that can be opinionated and hard-headed. They need freedom and independence to attain their goals and interests. Any form of micromanagement will result in disruptive behavior. They can be combative and competitive to a fault. Yet if given the latitude, they will make decisions and be held accountable for them. They need to mentally move forward. They are not team players. They are team leaders. If given the opportunity to take charge of what they perceive to be a dysfunctional group, they will easily step into the role. That's just a summary of the high A people.
And that's where you see yourself, eh?
That was my highest. That's my highest. There's 4, 5, 6. There's really 7 metrics that this scores you on, and this was my highest one.
Okay. I wonder if
Just
there's
by a little bit. It was just a little bit over extroversion.
I wonder if there's any chance that a person like that, if they became bored with mundane problems, might create their own complex problems just to keep themselves occupied.
It actually not in the type A definition, but in my type profile, it actually explicitly says that I will basically.
So now, if you had, let's say you lived you had the type of employment and lived the type of lifestyle that provided you with that kind of problem solving opportunity, what would it be, do you think?
I don't know, because you don't know what you don't know. I think in a way, this, even though the money's not great on the whole compared to other things I've done, it does provide me with some of that problem solving angle. You know, I'm selling a free product. It's already free. And so that's sort of a good challenge. But I don't know, you know, ever since I got fired in 2020, at the beginning of 2020, I've been basically doing a bunch of side hustles. And sometimes, you know, you take on mundane jobs just to get cash flow going. But on the whole, the autonomy is, I'm much happier this way. And, you know, what's you know, spending a day with a chainsaw is fine if it means that I get to spend 4 days, you know, talking to people on the internet.
Well, the problem solving is definitely a challenge. You have no collective agreements to refer to here. If you have personality disputes, you have to work stuff out on the fly. Who are you going to appeal to? But you're also not responsible to anyone, right? Nobody is going to tell you that you handled that situation poorly. It's totally up to you.
Mm-hmm. And that's how I prefer it. Absolutely.
Interesting.
I'm okay with taking responsibility for being wrong or having fucked up. I'm more okay with that than I am with following procedure and fucking something up because I had to follow procedure.
In my management position, what I loathed the most was the senior managers who wouldn't assist in decision making, but then would swoop in and second guess if it was politically expedient to do so. You know, that would sit back. I loathe that.
Yeah, the people that would try to just all they did was stifle any sort of forward motion because they were putting themselves in the safe and, you know, in that role. I know who you're talking about.
Well, and oftentimes people will climb the ladder not because they've distinguished themselves, but because they're seen as low risk. And if you can be low risk by behaving like that.
Yeah. One of the first, I don't know if you've read the 48 Laws of Power, but the very first one is to not outshine the master.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Basically, the conversation I'm trying to have is around this drive that you seem to have, and there seems to be some sort of an aversion to inauthenticity. At least it's what I see. I'm not sure if
I mean, unpack that. What do you mean?
it seems to be like in some cases, if you see bullshit, you just can't tolerate it. You have to point it out, even at a cost.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I feel like if I'm sitting on a panel and somebody is speaking bullshit and I'm sitting silently, I don't feel like it's non-engagement. I feel like it's a small active role in it's my stamp of approval. Basically, silence is consent.
Well, let me give you a specific example. And this is the kind of thing that hurts you in the corporate world. I'm not saying hurts you, hurts anybody. So remember that guy that was walking circles in his house and preaching at you at 2 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah.
Okay, you saw that for bullshit and it was personally offensive to you. I could see that it wasn't just that you disagreed. It's that something about that was offensive. Now, it could have been the time of night or the fatigue. But
that was a factor there, but it wasn't the factor.
So what was the factor that made that so difficult for you to tolerate?
The combination of hubris and wrongness.
Yeah,
it's an arrogant position to tell somebody else that you know the cosmic truth and they're wrong about it. Like, it takes a massive amount of arrogance.
So how do you see that unfolding if you go to this 3 o'clock in the morning church and they start laying their hands on you and expecting you to fall down or twitch or whatever? How do you see yourself responding to that?
You know what? I've already wondered how the fuck I can do this thing without it and be there long enough to make content out of it. I have had that thought already. It's a good question.
I don't think you saw when the Amazing Randy busted Peter Popov. You must have seen that documentary, eh?
No, I haven't.
Well, it's the same type of thing. So this guy named Peter Popov is healing people and telling people details about their life, but really what happening is he has an earpiece in, and his wife is feeding him information from the back room from cards they'd asked the parishioners to fill out before the service. So he'll bring a person up on stage. Oh, you live at such and such a avenue and you live in this community. And then they're all bewildered because they think God is speaking to him when really it's his wife.
Right.
And they busted him by having people acting like they were being healed, going into his congregation and playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that would be difficult for me to do anyways. So to go into this 24-hour church and to get content, to pretend like I was being possessed or healed or whatever you needed to do, I'm not sure I could do that. You know,
it would be there's something degrading. It's degrading. It's degrading to play the part or to have to go along, right?
Yeah, it is.
I sort of like it's. I find it degrading to, like, I'm not a thief. Because I find sneaking around to be a degrading activity. That's like really my primary aversion to stealing. Personally, for me, is that just the act of sneaking around I find degrading, like right out the gate.
Yeah, I agree. So it's been my experience. I have seen people in the corporate world, like the person that is behaving like they're being healed for some sort of a payoff. I've seen people in the corporate world supine themselves in the exact same way. It doesn't look the same, but they will submit to ideas that they don't believe.
It sort of does look the same.
It does. They'll show the body language. It's totally phony. You can see it from a mile away, but they'll have very enthusiastic body language in a board meeting, lots of nodding, lots of approval, and it's a trained behavior. And it's also inauthentic, in my opinion.
Correct. But it's a way of life for people.
So you couldn't see yourself living that kind of life for the next 30 years.
I can never. No, absolutely not. I can play the game sometimes if if I get myself into a competitive mindset, then I can play the game to win the game. You know what I mean? But I have to be in a competitive mindset. Otherwise, I just can't really swallow that shit.
Well, I don't know, Flo, of another place you could be other than here that would provide you that broad of opportunity. You can basically pick whatever you want to discuss. You can bring people in. The problem solving, going on to that fellows panel today, the fellow that was, or was it today or yesterday, the fellow that supposedly passed away?
Yesterday now.
Yesterday. Now, that's a very problem-rich environment for you to be in.
Yes, it is. I never thought about it that way.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be stimulating for you, right?
Yeah, it is. It is. It's yeah, there's a lot going on there.
Right on, man. Well, I think I've asked.
Yeah. That was a good questioning.
Well, yeah, no, I think I've
I
asked
do
good
like-
enough questions.
I didn't realize that I do like problem-rich environments until like you pointed out it just now. It's like that's one of those self-awareness things. Like, oh yeah, I've obviously been this way for 37 years and had no idea about it till just now.
Yeah, well, the constant curiosity, I think, and it's like the guy that always wants to keep his body active and work out all the time, or same thing with keeping your mind active, I believe, right? If it stagnates, it doesn't feel good, in my opinion.
And you wouldn't believe how much of that at the physical side I have too, for how much I sit here. But like every second I'm not on stream or sleeping, I'm moving around and doing shit.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes I'll just cam down and people won't even know. I'll get up and I'll just go outside. There's a door right here in the room. I'll just walk outside and just do a lap around the fucking house. And then come back.
You probably feel better after, eh?
Yeah, I do.
Well, you're probably like Nightish. He seems to have an exercise bike in the background too. I wonder if he uses that.
I kind of suspect it's just a clothes rack.
Hey, Flo, I'm going to let you get going, man, but that was a good conversation. That's what I meant by the hard interview. But you need to go
agree
with somebody better.
Well, no, I don't know. That was what I was going to say. It was a good conversation. You are able to assess. You know me. You're able to see me well enough to make the questions good. I don't know that many people are able to see me that well, or anybody that well.
Maybe there's some commonality there.
Yeah. So I agree. I like more challenging questions, and I would be happy to have those. If somebody has them. I do need to get a hold of Andrew because I would like to have that morality debate with him.
Well, I think that you need to put it in a challenging format. Like, did I ever tell you about what happened with me and him?
No.
So he does not like to be challenged. I'm becoming more and more convinced that he's actually a good guy, and probably does some things that he regrets later on. I've heard people say really good things about him. But like, I was in Jim Bob's chat one time, and Jim Bob is a pretty talented guy. And I said that Jim Bob it's my experience that Jim Bob kind of plays subservient to Andrew a little. And he was doing that on stream. So I put in the chat, hey, Jim Bob, I actually think one day you're going to be bigger than Andrew. I believe that. I put that in the chat. Instantly, Andrew came into the chat. He was obviously there the whole time. And we're not competing with each other, old Joe. So I think the way that you get to Andrew is you challenge him. I would say something like I put in the chat and say, prove me wrong. He loves the challenge. And there are lots of ways that you can say morality it makes sense from an evolutionary perspective. It's a selfish thing in the end. I really think you should put it that way. Put it out in a short or something.
Yeah, I don't know if that is a good idea. I've already kind of been doing that without realizing. Have you seen my last couple shorts?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. Yeah, I saw the morality piece. I saw where you said religion interferes with morality. And I think that if you're looking to stir a debate, that's the way to go about it. Make sure that...
I think that is what I'm doing, but I don't recognize it consciously when I'm doing it.
So I think that it would be a good idea to... And I wouldn't try and be a jerk about it, but just say, I'm challenging Andrew Wilson to a debate on morality as related to evolution or something like that. Put something like that, because they love that science. They love to go after that.
Right.
So how would
Yes.
you? Well, you see, the thing is too, you want to kind of avoid saying too much of what your argument is going to be, because then they'll go and they'll research it, and no matter what you think of, there's always going to be somebody that's come up with points against it. So you don't want to let up too much out of the bag before the actual debate.
I've thought about that, and the thing is I don't know how you can get out of the fact that obviously a brain comes from God and a Bible comes from another man.
Yeah, so I'll tell you what they say, or at least my understanding of what they say is. First of all, they'll say that you can't prove a brain came from God. Then they'll give you what's called the TAG, the Transcendental Argument for God. Have you heard of
You
it?
don't I haven't, but hold on. You don't think that they would say that suggest that the brain didn't come from God?
No, they would say a brain did come from God.
Right.
What did I say? Yeah. But they would say that the mind of God. So their argument around where the mind came from, they'll say that there were things that were mind dependent. Then they'll wedge you into saying there's a difference between a brain and a mind. And they'll ask you, is your mind physical? And then they'll ask you, how can your mind, if it is not physical, how can you evaluate thoughts? How can a thought?
I did this with Jim Bob a little bit, but it seems
That's
like
right.
it's a non-fact, like it's a straw man sort of path to go down, because whatever you want to call it, our capacity to think is what I'm referring to. So all the splitting and parsing and you know, it's
That's
distinctions
right.
without a difference.
That's right. So they will say that's made in the image of God, and that thinking is something that was going on before human brains existed. That's generally the argument they use. So you would have to attack them on that, right? There are lots of ways you could make an evolutionary argument for morality. And I'm not convinced that their TAG argument is completely solid either.
What is the TAG thing?
So the TAG is this. Let me try and take it. Let me try and do it if I can. Okay. So Flo, did information exist before the human mind existed?
Yes, I would say so, but it wasn't our information. Information required for something to be information, it requires an audience that recognizes it as information.
Okay, so
the data was there.
Yeah, so the raw data was there. How about the laws of logic?
Yes, I think that logic is mathematical. It's external of it's the same thing as information, really. We recognize that one thing necessitates the next. So I would say that also logic is mostly our recognition of pre-existing conditions.
So do you know what an ontology is?
Isn't that like a narrative or the story to like the Big Bang is an ontology of the Earth? Is that
so? An ontology is description, basically. So what is the ontology of a planet? And they would, how would you describe it, right? How would you describe that planet? Then they would ask you if you could have done that, if that description is possible before the human mind existed.
All these things that you're asking if they existed before the mind, is all these things that you're asking about are the act of recognizing something already there. So all of them have a yes and a no component.
Yeah, so they will argue that in fact descriptions, information transfer, the laws of logic, these things existed before the human mind. And the fact that they existed before the human mind is proof for God, because they consider them what you call mind dependent. So you couldn't have a painting without a mind, right? Like if you walk up to a painting and look at it on the wall, you can recognize that a mind created that. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I would agree with. I mean, personally, yes, I agree with it. Argumentatively, yes, I generally agree with it, but leave room for the fact that it could be random.
That's right. There could be explanations, but generally we would accept a painting or the Mona Lisa, or a sculpture or something like that, as mind dependent. It requires a mind. Does language require a mind? Now their argument will be, and this is where you would look into this to give you fodder for your debate. The argument would be that from their perspective, that things that existed before the human mind, such as the laws of logic, such as information transfer, are mind dependent. And if our mind wasn't around, then some mind must have been. That's their argument. And they say in that case, it makes a stronger argument for God. And they don't say it proves it. What they say is, we want you to give us a better alternative than that. We're saying these things existed because a mind created them, and they are mind dependent. So unless you can provide us with a better alternative, our argument has more credence. And what they're always doing is saying that our argument has more credence. They're not proving it. They're saying it makes more sense. So I could once again tell you how I would attack that. But if you're going to debate them, especially on ethics, especially on morality, there are some really strong arguments you could put forward.
Yeah, and so the question or the debate I want to have is whether or not you can have morality without a religious foundation, which I think there's a ton of reasons why. Yes, obviously you can, of course. I think that, of course, that gives them the harder position, and I don't even know if what Andrew, if he even thinks that you need God to have morality. I suspect he does, but I don't know.
Well, once again, he does argue this, and once again, he'll argue something like, okay, if you don't subscribe to our 10 commandments, let's just use 10 commandments. He calls them Judeo-Christian values, but let's just say 10 commandments. Why would you not sleep with your sister? That's a question he had put directly to you.
And well, I don't know that there is a good so my societal based definition of morality, I would say that, well, you're going to have to lie since it's not socially accepted. You're going to have to lie to do it. It says something fucked up about you already anyways, but it's not immoral to be fucked up necessarily. You are allowed to be a weirdo in flow state morality. I think that.
So there's a way that you can cut the feed out from this argument, but we have to have a private discussion. I'll tell you exactly how you take the knees out of this one, because nobody's done it yet, but I did debate with a few of those guys, and nobody's come back with an appropriate answer yet. So because I want to save it, I want you to spring this one on him if you get him in debate without him ever having heard it before.
Well, and if you want to, when I end the stream, if you're still watching, if you want to just spring back up, I'll hang around for a few minutes afterwards.
Okay, how long are you gonna go?
Not much longer. I got like 3 or 4 more little clips that I'll get through, and then I'm gonna shut it down.
Okay, I will hang out and then write it. You want me to come up right at the end of the stream, and then you can, or just use the same link?
Yeah, just use the same link and come back here. When it's over, I'll hang around for a minute. So it's how I'm chill.
All right, I'll when you're about to end, just I'll
put out an old Joe warning.
Sounds good.
All right, thanks.
Okay, see you later.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was old Joe, who has found himself in something of a guru coach role, which is cool. Cool. Hi, Puck Elf. Somewhere in time, I have been ignoring the chat. So good to see Puck Elf blowing it up like usual. Let's get a few more of these so that I can wipe out the whole list and not have little partial things floating around. Let's see, where did I end? You know what? I like the microwave guy so much. I'm gonna play it again while I figure out the next one.
If you're serious about change, just know you're going to go through some uncomfortable situations. Stop trying to dodge the process, because in the long run, it's going to make you better. And don't forget that shit, you heard?
Good shit, good shit. Okay. This is a little bit of shift. Music. I've said before, a lot of times I think that music is social engineering. You've got hypnotic beats. The music is hypnotic. The lyrics are mantric. They're mantras that people chant to themselves over and over and over again, and it works in your subconscious. And I think that music intentionally, I don't think I think our culture is intentional, and a big part of that is music. And so here's a little clip from KRS-One.
Colonialism, if we may bring this word now into the conversation. Colonialism has a tactic of taking the criminal element of a society and exalting it as the leadership. And this is how all cultures, how they did us as they came in. So you look at any city, any state that is colonized, they don't take the king or the queen of the culture and exalt them, because you colonizing their land, you take what they got. They'll take the one who is the lowest level of your culture, disgruntled, can't follow principles, don't care about history, and bless them. And bring them up before the people.
Now that blessing only matters if those people admire or said blessing.
Yes.
Outside of admire said foundation.
Yes, but the foundation is still the truth. Now, because you went with the lie, and the lie looks good, the lie is paying. The lie is giving you prestige. You getting popularity on the lie. Yeah. There's only one place that lie can take you. One place. And that's to your self-destruction.
Yep. Right to prison, right to the grave. Yeah, he said it perfectly, basically. This one sort of builds on that.
I don't know what's this opioid thing, man.
But being when that said, would you back then? Being a crackhead wasn't cool. Now they seem like they're making it cool to be drinking lean and syrup, and
it's the most dangerous. It's the most dangerous thing that's facing our society.
Are you so why sign an artist that would promote that?
Because I already answered that question. You weren't paying attention. She asked me talent or issues, and I said talent.
Don't you think that's hypocritical though?
It's opportunistic. Yeah, I got people to feed. I got a business to run.
Art speaks to people. That's why they use it against you. I mean, you hear hundreds of times a day stuff that's anti your development. Hundreds of times. They make you sing songs that tell you you don't have no sense, you're crazy, you don't have no future. You think you're just singing a song. You're actually teaching yourself the propaganda of the opposed. The problem is that they are able to bribe and entice our people, oppress people, to take part in, art forms that actually attack them. And that our people who a lot of times is not conscious enough to avoid being placed in situations where they actually
Nothing else to say there. Those say it pretty well. All right. Done. Not done. All right. Here, let's watch these package thieves get in a fight over a box that's dropped off at a porch. That shit's funny to me, even though it's like not funny because it shows how shitty things are. In a way, it's pretty funny. Right, those two douchebags fighting over a box that just got dropped off. We're not gonna watch this whole clip, but this is watch how fast this dude can chug beers.
Friday beers. Sunday beers. Go Patriots.
Do it.
Oh my God! What? That just disappeared. Woo! 20 in the hole. Thank you. You're best. Hey, victim. Oh, he's got home with it too. He's gonna. Nate! Oh my God!
Oh, Nate!
Hey, that was a valiant effort. That was a good try.
He just shoots the whole pint like a shot.
He's like 10 beers in the hole already.
I don't drink.
I knew it. I fucking knew it.
I prefer the Canadian.
Yeah. I feel like I've seen this guy on Friday beers. Then you know what you're up against.
Whoa!
How do you
That bread?
Do it for the back.
Oh, he is fucking
I swear to God, every frat had a dude that could do this.
You guys want to go?
You'll be oh!
He said it's
Some people can just do that shit. Like there are some people who can just drink beer. I can drink actually quite a lot, or I used to be able to when I drank quite a lot. But like there are some dudes who can just do that shit. I had a buddy who beer bonged a 6-pack once. He was already drunk, and that 6-pack beer bong, like the dude had to stand at the top of the stairs, and he had to stand in the basement for a funnel to be that long. He drank the whole 6-pack and then stood up and then kind of wobbled backwards and then just passed out and fell backwards through the ping pong table. I've done a triple beer bong. That was the biggest one I've ever done. I wouldn't go in it. Yeah. But no, I don't. He wasn't cheating. I mean, I have no reason to believe he was because I know guys who could drink like that. There's not a lot of them. They're few and far in between, but they do definitely exist. And all right, this is the last little clip or little montage I'll play. It's 3 minutes and 20 seconds long, old Joe. So if you wanted to come up whenever, we didn't think that one through. Sorry, guys. And I can't mute the video clips. I don't think I can. No, I can't. You like these? Should I do more of them? Like, this is pretty easy content to set up. I just kind of rummage around Twitter a little bit, and then, yeah, old Joe, here is the link. Unsubscribe worthy, for shame. You're kind of attention needy, Safe and Sound, and you're not even on panel to be. Oh, look, Puck Elf is backstage. Hold on a second. Puck Elf, I'm shutting down. That was for old Joe. We're going to talk after.
Ah, okay. Sorry.
Hey, you're good.
Yeah, nice to see you all.
Good talking to you.
I just quick update. Feeling a lot better. Stress is over. Binge is done. I'm chilling out.
You seem pretty level. Like your vibe is just a little bit more even keeled than.
Yeah, I just wanted to give you a good update. I've got a lot of support going on, and things are looking good. So yeah, thanks guys.
Well, good deal. I'm glad to hear that.
And you've been a fucking like a Saint fucking Michael, you know? Yeah, thanks, man.
I have.
You were talking about religion. I just came up with that off my head or whatever. Yeah.
All right, I'll accept it.
You defended me from the fuckwits. Thanks, man.
Absolutely. Take care. All right, let me. Oh my God! Somebody had a channel on crushing animals. That's fucked. And I think somebody was asking to see my Peter, but no, I lost. Oh yeah, there. Molly wants to see my Peter. Sorry, Molly. TOS issues. Okay. Let me figure out where I'm going to send you guys. I should have done this a minute ago. You know what? While I figure this out, you guys probably need another microwave guy.
If you're serious about change, just know you're going to go through some uncomfortable situations. Stop trying to dodge the process, because in the long run, it's going to make you better. And don't forget that shit, you heard?
You heard? Okie dokie. Here you go. I should send you to NASA Spaceflight Live. I'm subscribed to NASA Spaceflight Live for some fucking weird reason. There it is. All right, hit the like if you haven't hit the like. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Happy 3333. Illuminati confirmed, and